They're here to laugh. That's for sure. Hello and welcome out to this week's episode of Gamers Council. Dramatic pause, RHETRI. Dramatic pause. Just
you nailed it.
I paused so long last week. RHETRI's like, did you forget the name of the show?
I know. I was like, is this thing working?
Sorry. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Welcome everybody. Oh my goodness. We have got such a freaking awesome panel tonight. We are so excited. First time on this show is Jesse Norris. Jesse, welcome, sir.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to finally be here. I know we've been trying, but life was a little busy, so it's nice to finally get on.
Well, we anytime we can get you on, man, we feel blessed. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And then, of course, the man, the God, the ultimate gamer. I love this guy. Are you kidding me? He's my hero. And of course, he answers the call whenever we need him because he is Mystery Games. Ladies and gentlemen, K.Asante. Welcome, sir.
Evening. Yes, I was hanging out, playing my games, and all of a sudden I saw the Graybeards logo in the sky, and I knew what time it was. What's going on, everybody?
Oh goodness! This is going to be great tonight, guys. We have so much to talk about, and the anticipation for Friday the 13th is off the chains. Oh yeah, we're going to get into a little bit of everything, and maybe a little slander. Ooh, you never know, and we'll have a little fun too. Yeah. RHETRI, welcome, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Apologize to anyone who was looking at my Twitter feed and was wondering who the hell the guests were tonight, because I had Jesse's face up there and K.Asante's face up there and didn't change the actual text of the names. So my bad. So apologize to our panel members. I goofed on that one. But good to be here, man. We got a great panel tonight, and I'm sure everyone will be rolling in here soon. And this will be filled with all kinds of awesome Xbox people, maybe some PlayStation people too. We'll see.
Okay. That's all right.
Yeah. Why not?
Yes, awesome. Well, welcome out to the over 30 people in the chat so far, and I know that's going to be piling in, and we appreciate you guys for being here. And just want to let you know that if you get a chance, hit the like button. It seems so silly, so small, but every little bit helps, and it's greatly appreciated. Yeah. Just that little thing. That's all we ask. If you hit the like button, or if you don't like RHETRI's haircut and put dislike, that's fine too.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I shaved my head just for you guys today.
Aww.
It's interesting how YouTube works, because people always think, if you give a downvote, it hurts the channel. It's like, actually, it helps because it's engagement. They care.
Exactly.
All it does is change how much you may see their content in the future. But thank you for the dislike.
Exactly. Thank you for the dislike. Yeah. If you hate my bad takes, and I got plenty of those, you can hit that dislike all you want. It's fine.
Oh goodness! And also, last little thing I'll say as we get going, we do have the channel memberships. If you're interested in doing that, you don't have to, but if you'd like to get some of these cool emojis that we have going, we have the lowest tier, which is Droid. I love it, and it's only $1, one single itty bitty dollar. And if you do that, you're gonna get all these cool emojis. I'm getting ready to drop into the chat right now. There we go. So, and you have access to all those, plus more that we're going to be adding, all kinds of stuff in there. So, just have fun with it, and we enjoy it. And if you can't do it, that's okay. We appreciate it. And we do also, we're doing some super chats, but we also, if you don't want to do that, still, if you got questions, put them in the chat. We do pop them up on the screen, and if there's something we want to talk about, we will jump to it. And so you never know, you might get talked about on the show.
Is that the Ahsoka emoji that I see right there? I might subscribe just for that one right there.
Yeah,
right
there. You should.
borrow that one real quick. Excuse me.
You go right
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
Yes.
I made the Ahsoka one. I thought that was pretty cool. And then
Definitely
and
relevant.
Then, and then the newest one we added was one. Actually, I think I sent you too. But is the tinfoil hat. So whenever we need to have that on, we got the tinfoil hat ready.
Oh, fantastic! That's fantastic.
nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of fun tonight. And with that said, I'm gonna turn it over to my man RHETRI. What you got, buddy?
I'm just laughing at Far Q. He says, I don't like RHETRI's haircut either because I have the exact same one. And he has to head out. I guess he's got to go bed, but he wanted to say on his way out that he is loving gaming and he is loving Forza right now. So appreciate you being here. Definitely a good supporter.
Far Q,
channel, so.
we appreciate you.
Far Q. Yeah, and his multiple personalities. Jim Ryan.
Also
And
Jim
his
Ryan.
amazing
Let's go
name.
fun
His
the account.
amazing name. Like, come
It
on,
is.
that's the best name ever.
I
You
love
have
it.
to see that over and over and over again. Like, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Fuck you.
He thought that one through. That's
I
for sure.
have to throw a French accent on it. Oh, look, Jesse's cat.
Oh, look at the cat.
She was just off screen, constantly staring at me. So I'll give her a little love.
Mm.
Oh, it's
She's
so
like
beautiful.
staring at you. She's like, I'm going to tip over this cup if you don't pick me up. I'm going to throw this over here. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll start off by asking you guys, and if you can talk about this, I'll start with you, Jesse. I don't know if you can mention what you've been playing, but we always like to ask everyone what they've been playing lately and any like movies or TV shows that have caught your interest that you've watched lately.
Well, I can't say exactly what I've been playing, but oddly enough, I've been watching video of a lot of people playing Lords of the Fallen based on watching the dozens and dozens of hours that have gone up on YouTube in the last day. Just based on those videos alone, I think I can easily say pretty gorgeous, really nice looking,
looks good,
using
right?
Unreal Engine 5. Yeah. Using Unreal Engine 5. Looks real nice. Everyone's playing on PC though, on the YouTube, so I don't know exactly how to run on the consoles. It really looks. So we just had Liza P, which was like Sekiro Kino, or Souls.
Did you like Liza P, Jesse? I'm not too far into it, but I really like it. Do you?
I gave it a 9.5, so I definitely did.
All right, awesome.
Yep. Also, when I played Liza P, it was before 2 nerfs, so they had roughly 4 times as much health on every boss. Yeah, it was real rough, but it was fun as hell.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy that nerf happened because I'm so bad at those games. But good for you.
That one can be punishing if you don't get the parrying down right away.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But based on Lords of the Fallen's video that's up, it's definitely more of the Dark Souls and less of the Sekiro or Bloodborne. So very RPG heavy. You've got your melee, you can do ranged, you can do magic. Whereas Pinocchio is just one thing, essentially, that you can alter a bit in Liza P. Looks great. I did put in for a review request. So we should have a review at some point before launch. It's real weird when you can't say anything, but you can watch like 50 people. You're watching 50 people say whatever the hell they want as they play the first 5 hours of the game on stream. So thankfully, I mean, I'll just say, looks pretty great from what I've watched.
Excellent.
Gotcha. hint, read between the lines. What?
Right? Yeah. If you guys, I'm sure you guys can figure out what was going on there. Any movies or TV shows or anything that's caught your interest lately, or anything you're addicted to?
Pretty mainstreamy lately. I really, really loved Ahsoka. Thought they nailed the landing on it. It was what I wanted as someone who had seen Clone Wars and Rebels before. It was the more mature live action, slower pace. It felt prestige in a similar way to Andor, where Andor was like a prestige regular people in the Star Wars universe. This was prestige, Sith and Jedi and the Space Wizard stuff. In a way that Kenobi kind of failed to. Kenobi was fun, but it felt like it was made mostly during COVID and had a lot of production issues because of that. And you could just tell it felt like he got time and budget to just make something fantastic. And then, of course, the first episode of Loki season 2 was great. So yeah, I didn't even know that was out.
Yep. Oh,
At least on Thursday.
Mm.
Every Thursday.
thank you for reminding me of that. I might have
Real
to
good.
re-up my Loki for Disney. Loki out of all those types of ones. Loki's my favorite. And I'm the one who was crapping on that. I'm like, what a dumb show. I'm like, I don't want to watch Loki for. It is by far
my
I think,
wife.
the best one.
Right over there, she was like, "I hate
didn't
Loki.
want
Why would I want to
anything to
watch
do
a
with
show
Loki.
about him?" Yeah,
And I
she's like, "He's
loved
my least
it.
favorite character." And then after watching the show, she's like, "Oh wow, I really like Loki now. They made me actually like him."
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. All right, sir. What have you been playing, Kay?
Hey,
any
before you
TV
get to
shows and all
that,
junk?
before you get to
What's up?
that, you need to welcome K.Asante,
welcome
your
it.
newest channel member.
I mean, I kind of
Oh, yeah.
was. Welcome, K.Asante, on the
I mean,
show
I told you.
and our newest. Yeah,
I had to use them
I knew he was
emojis,
going to
man.
do it.
Love it.
Yeah, I knew-
use the emojis,
I knew he
man.
was- He wants that Ahsoka. He wants that Ahsoka emoji. So
Yes, and you know what? I will lead right into what Mr. Jesse Norris was saying. I have been watching Ahsoka, the
Same here.
greatest Star Wars TV show to date. For those of us who are sick and tired of
I agree.
the main drama, like, and I will say, because I'm here to pull up the slanderous rear, you are not allowed to watch that show. No, you aren't. If you're seeing my face and listening to the sound of my voice, and you haven't seen Clone Wars, no Ahsoka
Or
for
Rebels.
you, sir.
Yeah.
Or
No,
Rebels for no.
Yeah.
No Ahsoka for you. You need to do your homework to get the grandeur and the amazement that is seeing.
There's
her
a
in live
lot of
action.
episodes.
Yes,
I will
there
say,
is.
if you
There's
go
a
to the new
lot.
Rockstars
Yeah.
channel, he's broken
Yeah.
down every season. If you at
Okay,
least
okay.
watch his breakdowns
What,
on
the
there,
Cliff Notes?
it's really good for
Yeah.
giving you the gist of what happened every season. They're like about half an hour per season, so it ends up still being like freaking 5 hours or something. But still, it's worth it.
But I got to
Nice.
tell you, jokes aside, you catch it if you can. The cartoons were amazing. The animated shows were amazing. They started off slow, as all Filoni shows do, and then eventually they get there, and it's very much worth the effort that you put into it. I watched all of Rebels and Clone Wars because I just liked it, and now I feel like I'm so much more rewarded watching the Ahsoka show, being able to see, Sabine Wren and all the characters in actual live action, really fleshed out and done well. Excellent show. Love it. It's great. Some people don't like it. That's because you didn't do your homework. Do your homework. people. So I'm watching that. Still on the topic of watching, Invasion season 2. If
Okay,
you haven't seen
cool.
Invasion,
Nice.
you should watch Invasion. It's really good. It's getting better all the time. I won't go too much into it because the Invasion is a show basically full of spoilers. The title says it all. There's an invasion, people. There's an invasion. Watch the show. It's quite good. Yes. Believe it or not, Starfield got me into For All Mankind. If anybody knows that show.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that show.
Great show. So this is the show block because you guys brought shows. This is what I've been keeping busy with. So that's good. Now the gaming block, and let me warn y'all people now. There's too many games. There's just too many games, and I don't have the time to play all the games. I won't put on AC Mirage, even though I paid for it. I haven't played it yet, but I'm playing right now.
It's good.
Phantom Liberty, Party Animals, MK1,
Nice.
Cocoon,
Oh,
Forza
boy.
Motorsport, Lamplighters League, and Starfield. So that's
I reviewed most of those.
I know you did. I know that most of
Wow.
the people I'm talking about, he has either finished or is playing. So there you go. We played a lot of games right now.
If I gave you the list, you want me to give you the list of everything I've done since August?
Please.
Yeah, go.
Sure.
Yeah. I want to, fire off.
I did this chair last year. We got another Hayworth chair, the Xbox one. My wife did it. That went directly into doing the Halo book, Halo Outcast, which is right there, into Atlas Fallen, which was by Deck 13, who made the original Lords of the Fallen, oddly enough. Directly into Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew by Mimimi, who I've now sadly shut down after releasing an absolute goddamn banger. That went directly into Armored Core 6, which I've been vilified for only liking and not loving. That went directly into Starfield.
How dare you only like a From Software title? Damn you, Jesse.
I love From Software and have beat them all and beat Armored Core 6 3 times, but it's still I was very bad at it, so that's why I didn't.
You're not
like
allowed to like
That-
you have to love a video game these days or hate it. There's no in between. And we're gonna talk about that shit later too.
if you love it, the people who love it think you're brilliant, and if you hate it, the people who hate it think you're brilliant, and it's the opposite for each one.
Yep.
That went directly into Starfield, which directly into Liza P, into Solar Ash, into Phantom Liberty, into Lamplighters League, into Assassin's Creed Mirage, into NHL 94, now into Lords of the Fallen. That's just 2 months.
And this man has a job during the day.
I was just gonna go down that road. Like, or maybe he doesn't anymore.
Thanks to the missus, I'm pushing this full time now. So
oh, congrats!
I didn't,
Congratulations!
I didn't used to, but I'm. It's yes. I mean, most of like
now I feel a little bit better. Just a little.
I feel a little bit, dude. I'm like, I don't even want to talk about what I've been playing because now it looks pathetic compared to that. But when did you switch over to full time, Jesse?
I know it's been about a year, I think, since we really started to push it.
All right.
Yeah, no, I've been pushing it.
I feel a little bit better about
it. I mean,
right.
I did 110 reviews last year. So it was like early last year. I think I'm only going to do like 70 or 80 this year, but it's because there's just been so many big, long ones.
Right.
Really big, long, hard ones. But yeah, it's fun. It's very,
do not clip
weird.
That. I know what you're thinking, chat. Don't you do it. Don't you clip what he just said.
Pause.
It's very fun to do it, but it's very weird because my brain just drops the moment I finish a game and I'm on to the next one. Like I barely remember what I did in NHL 94 or Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I just beat them. Like I have to go back and read my review to remember.
Right.
Hey, Rich, read that comment, will you?
Shaun T says, "Nice, Jesse. You're awesome at what you do, man. Absolutely. Like that's some crazy amount of work that you're putting in, Jesse.
But yeah, because I also we try to do like I play the game, write the review, edit it, narrate it, and then make my own videos. So it's not just write. If it was just writing, it would be way easier. But making videos for YouTube on everything and trying to have them be okay looking ends up being a lot. I think
it's a lot of work.
500 gigabytes of video for Starfield because I had like 12 hours or something. So
yeah. Once you start saving up all those files, man, that shit adds up real quick. Especially if you're doing anything like in 4K. Like, oh god.
Yeah, we're full 4K. I only do 4K. Yeah. But thankfully with AV1 now, it is. I can get like really. You only need to push about 48K bitrate because YouTube will just re-encode it down to that no matter how high you go. So I push that. And I'll keep what I have for a while, but after time, I'll just clear out the original files and just keep the render. So it's not too bad.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's crazy.
Nick doesn't pay anything.
That's like, while I'm here, let me.
The main thing Nick does is ask me to get him games. That's about it.
I might have to ask you for your master list. Like you are you clearly got your stuff, like you're organized. I like that. You said you got a sheet. Like I'm an Excel guy too, so I got like all kinds of like Google Excel sheets and shit. So I like to
especially if you push press. It's so much easier if they see press because they'll always have their press and then they'll have the creator side. In the creator side, you've got to have huge numbers. But on the press side, it's like, well, I mean, it's just press. We can trust them. Like, because as we saw around Starfield, once creators get involved, a lot of, wow, I'm not going to say much, but wink, wink. This is my opinion. Right. I'm just pretty much saying it. Like, type of stuff hits. But if you're press, if you can push that at all, instead of just, I'm a streamer, then PR companies are generally fantastic to deal with. So,
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I made a website just for that, just in case I want to start doing more reviews and stuff like that. Because I was like, gotta do that make a stupid goddamn, I didn't want to do it. I was trying not to do a website, but here I am doing a website.
I'm very lucky. Our art guy Predrag also seems to know how to do art websites, so he made XboxEra, and it looks really nice, and everything he does looks great. But yeah, it's once we had an @XboxEra email, it just everything opened up. The floodgates were like poof. Because if you got like @Gmail or @Hotmail, I would get responses, but not many. But the moment we had our own company website,
I got to fix that.
And that's an easy fix. You can alias that very easy. Anybody could do that. So
right.
It's like $6 a person that for us to do. I think it's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not bad. Before I do move on to talk about what I've been playing, I have a quick question for you, Jesse. What were your thoughts on it? Did you just real quick, did you like Atlas Fallen? Because that was on my radar too, just like Lords of the Fallen. And I didn't touch it because I got some negative feedback from people saying they didn't really like it too much. It wasn't really like fleshed out. So I don't know if
it was
where you
very
stood on that.
ambitious. I gave it a 6.9 out of 10 it's our good, not great range. I think it would be a good like backlog style.
Okay.
I got it for $30. It's worth $30.
It's worth it.
It has good parts.
Yeah, usually like games like that, I try to wait to the 20, but sometimes at the 30 range, like you're saying, okay, like I break and I'm like, yeah, I got to do it.
Much like Lords of the Fallen, and it's unlimited co-op. That one I'm pretty sure also has co-op. I wasn't able to play it with anyone during the review period, but that one has co-op. So also, if you like split it with someone, makes it even more worth it.
That's a good point too. Let me get this first super chat here with the Adidas20 with the $2 super chat. It says Uncle Phil turned Xbox around. Agreed. Yeah, agreed, sir. Oh, Drawn TJ, what's up, brother? $5 super chat. It says, hi guys, Forza Motorsport is the best racing game ever. Prove me wrong. I got it at an 8.8 out of 10. No auction house, not much tracks, no AI in private lobby. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be talking about that in a second. For me, I finished Cocoon. I really liked it. I liked the designer of the game who also did Inside and Limbo, I believe. So this has been on my radar because of who was the gameplay designer for a while. So Cocoon, great. I'm not great at puzzles, so for me, this one was hurting my head. The puzzles are, in my opinion, much harder than Inside in Limbo. Like, it's making Inside look easy. So it's definitely like a thinking person's game, I think. But beautiful, great art, very, very cool concept, and one of those games where there's where there is a story there, but there's no like dialogue, there's no no one's talking, but there is a story there, and it's pretty cool. I like the ending there. Yeah, TSWS saying Cocoon was amazing. And I've been playing Gotham Knights. Yeah, absolutely. Exactly, Kay. Like sometimes, like, we all love these AAAs and stuff, but sometimes these like little AA games that come in, these indie games that come into Game Pass, I really like them just to get out of games where I'm getting my ass kicked in Lies of P or playing, hundreds of hours of Starfield. I just sometimes I like to graze too when it comes to games. So sometimes I like to play something different.
I play Starfield real quick, and I'm just like, oh, there's so many other games. I'm looking at Game Pass, and then I'm playing some other thing, and then I feel Andreja in the back of my mind going, we haven't gone out on an adventure. Where are you?
Right, exactly. We got places to be
right now.
Yeah. I'm trying to check some of these things off my list. Like right now, I'm playing Gotham Knights, and I think I don't know. I'm a little confused at how much hate this game got. Right. It's one of those games where I'm like,
it's all the first one. I got nonstop hate because I gave it an 8.3, I think, and then it ended up in
I would agree. I would 100% agree with that. What I played so far. I don't understand it. I get the 30 FPS thing, and people were coming at it, and it was like,
and it was worse at launch. It's a lot smoother now.
Yeah. And that's probably it. Like, obviously, we got it much later into Game Pass. But it's in Game Pass, and funny enough, like 2 days before it hit Game Pass, it went on sale to the exact same price as Game Pass is for the month, which I thought was kind of funny.
So
go ahead, Kay. Yeah,
let me push back for those who had a problem with it. Right, I didn't have a problem with it either. I've been playing it a little bit, but I do hear people saying that they had issues with it because, kind of like Redfall, which I'm sure we'll talk about as well. It has some gas DNA that didn't get fully fleshed out into an actual gas game, but it's got that gas DNA that's just really out of place and annoying. And in the beginning, it was also broken. So I did get the hate for it. Like folks are saying, it's much smoother now. That gas essence is still a bit of a problem. Like a quick example, one of my favorite campaigns from a long time now, believe it or not, Avengers, Marvel's Avengers. Amazing campaign. You can't get through that thing without interfacing with some level of its gas, and most people
they've got interludes where you have to do the multiplayer style stuff, and it's got level gating that doesn't always make a bunch of sense unless you go and grind your characters, and grinding used to was really bad at launch.
That's right. Yeah. If you were to cut out that campaign from the gas elements, man, you will become a Kamala Khan stan. What a great campaign.
If you could
can't
play the
get out of it.
characters fully upgraded too. They
Yeah.
like Iron Man sucks until he's fully upgraded, and then he's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
Oh.
And then he's
Getting him
fantastic.
there took like 20 hours. So people
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it's
You know,
not good if it
I
takes
think
that long to get good.
to the point of the Arkham Knights. I think that's why a lot of people give it crap, because they didn't take the gas elements to its full fruition, because nobody really wants that. But then they left it in, you know. So it just doesn't work with the campaign.
It's what we're gonna see with Suicide Squad next year. They're not gonna get rid of
exactly.
I think, yeah.
Exactly. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
They'd have to remake the whole damn game. It was structured that way, right, Jesse? So like
Exactly,
they're not gonna
Yeah.
start from
them.
scratch. I don't
They're
think.
going to change things a little, but they don't. It's not going to be a different game just because it got delayed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll probably
We're-
like
we're
that
not
one too.
shooting-
But hey, I'm here to say
we won't be
Gotham
shooting
Knights.
purple
I
things.
get right. I get the beginning. It was probably if I played it from day one, I probably would have a different perspective. I think maybe, but I'm really
Only a little.
enjoying
It
it. Like,
hasn't
it's
changed much.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm Batgirl right now, just driving around the city and just beating people up.
When you speed around the city in your bike and you see
Yeah.
the little like speed
The
things
blur
going,
motion
does
thing.
it still feel slow? Because that was a problem I had with it. Like you would see it in the animation
No,
because you're
not
going so
anymore.
fast, and you'd see grandma walking by you like, "What's going on?" What's she doing?
it's like
really
it's like
weird.
Office Space where you see the old guy passing you.
But the
no,
animations,
honestly,
are like, oh, it's so fast. I'm just like,
I actually really, I got to be honest with you. I actually really like driving. I don't know what the other characters are using.
They
for
all have the
vehicles. I don't
same
know if it's
bikes.
something similar.
Same
They've
bike.
all
it's
got
the
the
same
You can
thing?
get different
All right.
looking ones if you do like races and stuff, and you can
Gotcha.
also you can swap between characters whenever you want. So feel free, you just go to their suits inside the Belfry.
Mhm.
I gotta
But
yeah.
yeah,
It was
and
tough
it
because
is-
I wanted to pick Red Hood, but then I looked up on the internet who was the best to play, and a lot of people were saying
She's the
Batgirl, which I was
most because
surprised
she's the
at,
most
so.
Batgirl. She's the most Batman like with
Batman-esque.
say that.
They
Yeah.
have awesome suits, though. I will say, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Even day one,
Yep.
their suits and the customization of suits, awesome.
Yes.
It's awesome.
And also, it's Play Anywhere, so it's on PC. If you have a halfway decent
Yeah.
PC, it runs fantastically on there now.
There
And
you
like a
go.
locked 120 at 4K and everything.
Ooh,
set
I'm
up,
definitely
so.
gonna be doing that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
a
been
couple
playing on the
super chats.
X, so I'm gonna do that. Polybaba with the $2 super chat says gas pains. Yeah, it's not going away. That's for sure. Ask Sony; those things are not going away anytime soon. Drawn TJ with the $5 super chat says Forza Motorsport needs auction house and racing clubs and drag racing and drifting and AI and private lobby. Yes. All right. Well, we'll talk. We'll talk about that for
Hopefully
sure.
they'll add that.
Yeah, I mean it's still
It's
still
platform,
early.
They will.
Yeah, I think so. Which brings me to my first subject, which is Forza Motorsport and our impressions. If you guys have played it, unfortunately, I haven't. And I'll get into the subject of early access games as well after I talk to you guys about this. If you've actually played Forza, if you haven't, this is going to be a quick segment. But
They will.
I'm
very
I'm
quick.
curious. Okay, I'll start with you, Jesse. Have you played Forza? Do you have any impressions? And what kind of
I have
guy
not.
go into? Oh, okay, all right, cool.
Oh, yeah,
All right,
I've obviously edited our review. I've watched
Yeah.
it. It's a lot of the things I wanted. I did not want the big, you get 400 cars by the end and it just kind of never ends. I wanted to more focus on a handful of them. I know that's a big sticking point for people. For me, everything I've seen, it looks like something I'll definitely spend almost no time with, but really want to spend time with, but I'm too busy because games won't stop releasing. So I have to keep covering them. But yeah, from everything I know from our reviewer, who is just a massive fan of racing games, he does like every single one we have. He was in love with it because as an actual racing game, the foundation is phenomenal, like one of the best he's ever played. So the complaints now will be forgotten about in a year if they, just get all those updates. And oddly enough, Turn 10 and Playground, very good at getting upgrades out and the various or updates out in the various Forza games. So I think it'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'll go to you, Kay, real quick on your initial impressions if you've played Forza Motorsports. But I also want to talk about some other stuff that's kind of circling around Forza on the internet. Some of the BS
I will
that happens
say-
here. But
Yeah, we should talk about some of that stuff that happened. I have played it. I'd say about 30 minutes to an hour into it right now. As has already noted, I've already handed you my laundry list, which included Phantom Liberty, so you know what it is. So I have touched Forza, and I will say, as a guy who tends to be a Horizon guy over the motorsport, I'm more fun, enjoy the world versus the sim. And the reason why I am more fun than the sim is because I get really sweaty with sims to the point where it's problematic, where it's like, oh, I got to do another one. Oh, I got to do another. And I got to tell you, this is a great racer. Like, it's a great racer. Like, the small, teeny, tiny decisions they've made for a guy like me. And I know there's a lot of hate out there for certain changes they've made, which I can actually understand. But for a guy like me who I need to carry it on the stick, they've made the carry it on the stick really cool. Like, back in the day, you used to start with all of your stuff, all of the assistance enabled, because you want to make sure you do the best race possible. They're now incentivizing you to remove more and more of those assists, because it doesn't make the game any less. It doesn't take anything away from you. Like, you don't get any less achievements if you have all the assists on versus all the assists off. You don't, like, they want you to keep them assists on if you need them, but they incentivize you to, hey, take them off. Try to play, manual. Try to do it yourself, because whether you do or you don't won't really affect your score at the end. You may get a little bonus points here and there, but that won't really matter. It's more about you getting better. And I find myself, obviously, as a person who has a show and I speak to the community, we talk about games all the time. I feel the need to at least touch a lot of these games. But I played this game for far longer in the small time that I've had it than I expect that I normally would. I average about 14 to 20 hours per racing game. I never finished them, but I average around that time. I have and I did the same with Forza 7. I did the same with Horizon. I did the same with Horizon 3 and 4. Like, I didn't even do it on purpose. I always just check my time, and it always ends up right around the same place. Yeah. It's very weird. Yeah. I have a feeling this might break that. Like, once all the games are done, once I feel like I can put Starfield away
over the mountain, right? Yeah.
Yes. Once I feel like I've gotten my fill of all the various, I will definitely come back, because this is one of those things, as Jesse was saying, you can definitely tell that they're building on great foundation right now, and a lot will happen in this space. A lot more will be added. I will say, I've seen the comparison to GT7. It is what it is. I will say, sometimes I am blown away by the visuals of this game, and sometimes I'm like, sometimes it's green and washed out a little bit.
I kind of wanted to talk. I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because, like, I'm seeing, like, some awful footage, and then I'm seeing some of the best footage I've ever seen. And I know
it's the give and take talks about the real-time lighting.
The lighting. We heard, like, midday. I think Colt was
if the sun's directly over you, you don't get any shadows. It's gonna look flat. It's gonna look ugly. Also, I do think their midday haze effect isn't great. So that ends up washing things out.
It's the midday I've heard all the complaints about, which is, like, as someone who comes from, like, television and stuff like that, you don't go out, like, you do not mess with noontime. Like, you don't do that when you don't go out and videotape anything, because everyone looks like zombies. It looks like crap. But at the same time, it's kind of like it's a decision that they made to do that sort of lighting, and maybe they just shouldn't have. Maybe that's the place where you take it out of reality.
You know what,
I don't know. I haven't played it, so I can't say too much on it.
Playing on the 4090, I played it on the X Series X as well. I will try on Series S later. I haven't tried Series S, which, hey, you can see my Series
there
S.
It is. Right? It is a little guy. That's a little guy.
I've been playing it on all those places. It looks and plays excellently. Like, you don't lose anything anywhere you're playing it. It's really, really, really good. I agree with you on the lighting conditions that sometimes are changing, but I'm sure even that will get optimized and updated with time. You know what I mean?
It's the give and take. We're so used to baked lighting. Like, every game generally just bakes in their lighting, so you always have either, especially backlighting, like in Destiny, where everything's always backlit. Like, we get very used to baked lighting, and so real-time systems
used to it in your head like it's a game, right? And then when it starts being real time,
something don't feel right.
And real time, if it's not real time path tracing, like you can do in Cyberpunk and get like 30 FPS, real-time path tracing and like real-time ray traced global illumination, like in Metro Exodus, look pretty great all the time. But when you're not pushing that level, which Forza should allow,
They should
or
have
figure out on PC,
yeah.
but they're always a console first game, so PC stuff is going to be later.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I saw a lot of like the comparisons. I saw Gaz going off on Twitter and kind speaking his truth. You know what I mean? And people giving him shit for speaking his truth naturally, because it's the internet. God forbid he say something any negative whatsoever about Forza, but then he said plenty of positive as well. I think the game looks amazing. I'm like K, like I'm more Horizon than I am The Sims, because I'm just awful at them. And I guess maybe I just haven't put enough time into them. Maybe this will be the one. You never know.
The funny thing is, there's also
break
people who are I just like Horizon. In their review of Forza Motorsport, that was a 5.5.
That's a. I don't like seeing that.
Okay,
I don't.
I wouldn't put someone who has like, if you don't have any interest in the game.
I should not be doing Forza Motorsport. That would be wrong for me to review.
It would be like putting Nick on any Xbox game. It would be pointless and stupid.
The Nick slander. He's not even here to defend himself.
That's not slander. He'd agree.
That's just the truth. To speak on, I want to speak on this. We'll kind of move on from Forza Motorsport in general as a game. And I know a lot of people in our chat are enjoying it, and shout out to you guys, and shout out to anyone who's playing all the other games that are out there. That's part of the problem. What's going on here?
People watching us right now. Thank you.
Oh, nice. I appreciate that, guys. Thanks for coming out and joining us. I want to talk about, and this is a little offshoot topic, but I want to talk about early access. I'm curious to get everyone's opinions on this. Everyone's kind of all over the place with the whole, you get the game 5 days early, you're getting extra content. I think I've seen some articles written about this and I've seen some takes from journalists online saying like, you're getting the game early and forgot to mention you're getting DLC, you're getting extra cars, you're getting this, you're getting that, and all this other stuff, and just literally calling it like it's early access and you're paying an extra $30 literally just to get the game early, which I called out on. I got pissed off online. I was like, this is bullshit. I don't even know why you're saying this. This is a flat out lie. But Jesse, I'll go to you. What's your opinion on early access? Do you think this is a problem even though you're getting extra content? I mean, clearly it's a money grab and it's working for Xbox and Microsoft, but do you see this as an issue going forward? Because they're going to be doing this with every first party, I think, going forward.
They're going to do it with every first party that has a bundle they can make that makes sense. They didn't do it with Redfall because they didn't have big expansion plans for Redfall, just a couple of extra operators. So they had the Bite Back edition, but that didn't give you early access. With Forza, they did it last time with Horizon 5. Like with Starfield, they have an expansion planned. Like if they can do that, I think they're going to keep doing that. It's actually more like Liza P had a really shitty early access where it was 10 extra bucks. You couldn't bundle on Game Pass. It was 10 extra bucks, so you had to spend 70 to get early access, and it's just some clothes. I'm like, no, when
that's
it's
a bad
not
example.
When it's not
or a good example of when
being,
it's done bad. Yeah.
Yeah. When it's not a part of something that actually gives you something you might want. Then yeah, it's shitty, but it's also, pretty much everyone does it. I think Nintendo and Sony are some of the only like publishers that don't do it yet. And with the way Sony's starting to ape a lot of other publishers, they probably will. Nintendo's Nintendo; they'll do whatever they want. But no, I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's pretty normal, and I do think the way to think about it as a Game Pass user would be you get the day one standard edition. So day one doesn't mean Ultimate, doesn't mean Gold, doesn't mean anything outside of Gears 5, which was the anomaly. You get the standard edition day one. And a lot of people are like, you're not getting it day one. It's like, you're getting standard edition day one. For 99% of the customer base, that's all they care about. Like, we are the small bubble. So what we think matters generally probably doesn't. And it's kind of why so many people that give nonstop opinions on thinking they know how to do it better, like Nick, I laugh at them because they don't have the info. Like I heard so many people say Xbox doesn't know how to market games. And then we find out, because of their own mistake, they do. They just found it wasn't worth it. when they would spend tons and tons of money, it didn't give a huge return on the investment. Like we found out with Sony, who does spend a ton on marketing and makes a ton of money, but they're spending so much that they're actually making right around or potentially less a year or a quarter than Xbox is. Then you look at Nintendo, who's just like, we'll do whatever the hell we want, and they make ridiculous amounts because so much of the older school thinking around game releases that I think a lot of media doesn't think about with Game Pass and just how important it is for most people who are poor and don't want to spend a ton of money on video games. It also comes down to, I had to move my cat. Now I lost my train of thought. God damn it. It's so like people. So we. Oh, I guess I can say me now. I get every game I want to review. I don't have to pay for it, but that's not the norm. And I think that gets lost a lot in the press where like there was a piece up from Tamor and Lucy on GameSpot that was like, is PlayStation Plus and Game Pass worth it? And in the end, they were like, no, it's not really. But it's also like, well, yeah, but you guys, you're in the
One
bubble.
of them isn't.
And we're in the bubble of people who do buy a lot and not the majority who buy a couple a year. And for the majority, it's like, you can say PlayStation Plus isn't because it started really strong when they did the rebrand, but they haven't really done much with it. But Game Pass has only been getting better every year. Like, but like this year has just been, if you go month by month, it's been bonkers the entire time, which is why I always laugh at the no games thing. It's like, no, most people have way too much to play. It's fine if we go a couple months without a game. But yeah, so many of these talking points are our bubble of people who are willing to buy 10, 15, 20 games a year and not the actual thing these companies care about, which is the norm. How do we get so Xbox is like, how do we get
casual?
Mobile? How do we get PC? These are the things we can grow way more easily than stealing customers from PlayStation. And so people are always looking at it from and it's everyone, even the people who pretend they're above it. Everyone's always looking at it from A versus B. It's always Xbox versus Sony. In Xbox's mind, it's not really. They're trying to bring in new people, not take current users.
Not take away.
So
Yeah.
So in the end, no, I don't think any of this matters. I don't think a lot of the topics we end up talking about in here truly matter on the grand grand picture. They're just very interesting to talk about, especially for us who are so tied into everything. We know
exactly.
But you got to remember, while we know, and you can talk to 1,000 other people that know, there's 150 million who don't. So, and that's who they're going for. So,
welcome out to the over 110 people in the chat right now. Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you get a chance, hit that like button for us. It's easy to do. It doesn't cost you anything. We also have a couple of, we have a new member, Drawn TJ. Welcome, Drawn TJ. We have a super chat and then another super chat right after that, Retri. So
absolutely. Thank you, Drawn TJ, for becoming the newest member. You get all those cool emojis that Dave worked so hard on, and there will be weird new ones too. I got some ideas coming up. I've been messing with Midjourney, y'all. We got some stuff.
If you ever join the XboxEra Discord, I've got a lot of emojis. You can steal some. I got like 2.
There you go.
Nice. You heard it. I can steal some. I'll have to now. Let me write that down so I can.
Jesse's blessing.
Discord.gg/XboxEra. You can just join.
I'll find you guys. Appreciate that, Jesse. Durant TJ with the $10 super chat says, "I need you guys to talk about how that when you pre-order the Forza Motorsport Premium, you were supposed to get the new Lamborghini Revuelto 2023, but it doesn't give us its misleading marketing. You're not getting that in the premium, because honestly I don't know.
From what I understand, though, I think it actually hasn't released yet until the full version of the game comes out. So I think it's still.
That's what I would think too.
I think it's just you have another few more days.
DLC. As someone who has tried to review DLC, it almost never unlocks until the main game. So like when I played Liza P, I didn't have any of the. Oh right. They gave me the deluxe version. I didn't have any of that stuff. That's never unlocked until the main game unlocks, because DLC, if it unlocks for anyone, for people reviewing or for people with early access, it immediately unlocks for everybody.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the base system
Yeah.
is like, okay, well, we've got people reviewing Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak earlier in the year. The only way that works is we have to actually give them our Xbox network ID, and then they whitelist us. That was the same thing for me with Phantom Liberty. I had to get whitelisted to be able to review it before it comes out, and that's all DLC on the platform.
And Drawn TG, I do understand what you're saying. It is,
Yeah.
it feels like kind of BS, but I think the reason it's not there yet is that it's because the full version of the game is not
5
available
days of BS
for everybody.
Yeah.
So once
5
it
days
is,
of yes.
it should be available then. I mean, don't hold me to that, but I believe that's
I think
what
you
it
guys
is.
are right.
And trust me,
Yeah.
I wish we had it now too. But
I mean, it
think
happened
it's
with
still
Starfield
coming.
with me too. When I pre-ordered it, and I'm like, why can't I play the music or look at the stuff? And I couldn't. And I was like, oh, duh, because it's
There we
not
go.
out officially for everyone.
Mine
so it's
was
kind of,
backwards.
it's almost like,
It only
you-
played the
you-
music.
you could do
wouldn't
that?
play the game for a while. Started only the music, no game.
that sounds
That's funny.
that's terrible. That's not
That
the
was
right way
even
to do
worse.
it. Yeah, that's
Two
way
more super
worse.
chats. 2 more super chats.
Yeah. RHETRI with the $2 super chat was Forza released too close to Starfield. I love that Rachie brings this up, and I'll ask you guys about this obviously because I felt like Horizon did what happened with Halo Infinite, because I said see you later Horizon, and I went right to Halo, and I almost never went back to Horizon personally. But that didn't affect the. I'm the majority.
Exactly.
That did not affect the community because the numbers that Horizon got was insane. But I don't know. Do you guys think that
What do you guys think?
it might have cannibalized it a little bit?
Either one.
Either way,
I don't think so.
whoever.
I think they know enough with player bases who they're going for, and a lot of times I do think it's just more, if these are ready, don't put them on top of each other, especially if they are the same genre. But if they're very different genres, I don't think they care that much, because in the end, it doesn't end up changing much. Like they've got 140 million monthly active users, or 150, not including Minecraft, oddly enough, which is more than that on its own. They've got that many people playing every month. There's enough to go around for 2 games. Like it's not. We look at it and we're like, oh, well, Starfield's had 10 million players. Well, also, it's been a full month. A lot of them are probably have beaten the game and may come back later for mods or that type of stuff. They may be playing it occasionally, but also Forza's an occasional type of game for a lot of people, where they'll hop in, do a couple races that night after a shitty day at work, relax, and then, they're very different things. If it was Clockwork Revolution and Fable right next to each other, I think they'd spread that out on purpose. But when, again, a racing game and a shooter, or a racing game and an RPG, I think it's fine. As long as you got a full month or so. It was like a couple weeks on Forza and Halo because of the multiplayer drop. But it's fine in the end.
Yeah. I sometimes I do wonder though, because I think specifically with Game Pass subscribers, I think the mentality's changed just a little bit, and it affects Game Pass guys more than anybody, right? Because they're just like, it's too much. I'm not done. I have 3 other games to finish. Like a month is not enough time. Like nobody's like, Jesse, you're a robot, right? So you're like, you finishing games like crazy, and you're doing reviews, and like,
I wish I was a robot. Then I wouldn't have to sleep. I'd be able to, just stay up all night.
I'm wondering if you do sleep with all the games that you've been doing. But,
I do. I'm getting a solid 8 hours every night. It's been great.
Oh man, well, you're doing better than I am. I sometimes I do wonder, like, if Game Pass is changing that mentality of people, where because they're playing way more games than they've ever. I'm playing at least quadruple the number of games, probably way more than I've ever played. So yeah,
let's get Case. Let's get Case.
So I think that may be why a lot of people like the folks who don't like Game Pass, that may be why they fight it so much, because it changes the mental equation for people. And all of a sudden it's not what is this $70 going to go for? What is this $60 going to go for? It's more of, well, I'll play this later. Oh, well, that's good for you. I'll play this is good for me, and it kind of changes the equation. And those who either don't like that or can't be a part of that because they're on a different platform or something, that's what seems to be the consternation about Game Pass, because it's I always say this, it's training the consumers to expect different things, right?
Yeah.
And those who live in a world where $70 equals game and that's all that exists are very, very much seemingly not challenged, but what's the word? They are it seems like it has the potential to upend the status quo, and they don't like that.
Right.
And that's
The
why they
status
keep
quo
fighting.
was already free to play. It's already not buying everything every year.
That's true.
True.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're 100%
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I think
But the
so.
community seems to be okay with that though, for some weird reason. But then they attack them. But then they
'Cause
attack
it's
if
less-
you put too much money. If it's a $20 like suit, then they get pissed. It should be $10. Yeah, I didn't pay anything for the game, but if you
Yes.
at the same time, I'm like, well, you don't have to buy it. There's that. You can be a cheap guy like me and not buy much like on Fortnite. But we know how that works.
Two more
PK
super chats.
Thunderwoe with the $2 super chat. What is the default button to jump in Starfield? I think I think he's testing people. I can't remember. Did they? It was weird, right? Did they switch? Or wait, or was there no
It's
jump
Y.
button? I don't remember. It's
Y.
Y. It's Y,
What is the
right? It's
default button?
yeah.
It's the jetpack button. Calm
Because
what I
down.
had in my
because
it's
you
jet-
use
yeah.
A so much
He's like-
for
These
yeah.
for everything. Yeah.
Yep.
King
because A
Web,
is all
what's
the
going on,
looting and
brother?
all that. So
Right. Yeah. That does mess with me sometimes. A lot of Asian games, Eastern games do that too, and it drives me effing nuts because they have different SKUs of where the buttons actually are going, and I'm just like, oh, I can't. My brain is just muscle memory. King Web with the $2 super chat. Remember Friday the 13th, Phillips Voorhees ABK.
That's
Yes,
That's right. It is coming.
it's coming, man.
We're gonna be talking
The
about
count-
that in a few minutes for sure. Welcome out everybody in the chat. We got over 115 people in the chat right now, and so many great members of the community. Def Leppard, we got OBM, One Bad Mothers here. We got Mr. Joanna Dark, RSJ fans, so many more, and of course my favorite.
Why so serious?
Sorry, I have to do that when he's here.
No, I'm not playing Detective Pikachu Returns, Mr. Joanna Dark. I don't know why.
Pikachu.
Ah, man. Yeah, it's just, hey, maybe I'll get the Switch too, whenever the hell that comes out. So we'll see. We'll
there's
see.
a
what
fun
happens.
story around Nintendo and like first party stuff this year. The lowest rated first party release is not Redfall. It is actually Everybody 1-2 Switch by a point.
Oh wow. Wow, I didn't
And then
wouldn't
Detective
think
Pikachu
that.
is
Wow.
like in the 60s. Yeah,
Wow.
Everybody 1-2 Switch is a party game where you all get to play, and then as you get eliminated, for about half an hour, everyone eliminated just has to sit there and wait and watch.
And watch the others play.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
It's
really
not
well
a
thought
good
out.
game design.
When you're
Yeah,
playing,
that's not
very
great.
fun, but the overall design, real bad.
And
Isn't
welcome
there
out,
like a
Hardy
game
Tony.
in 1-2 Switch? Isn't there a game in 1-2 Switch that has like 60 Joy-Cons or whatever? You can play like infinite number of Joy-Cons in it. It's really interesting. It's good.
I didn't know.
I don't know. I have no clue
Yeah,
because
like
I
people
don't
like
mess with
1-2
Nintendo
Switch,
yet.
but
Yeah.
not the sequel. We've had a Switch. It doesn't get used anymore. The kids grew into, my son has a PC, so because he's like, well, I can get so many games so much cheaper, and
Yeah,
my
my
daughter
Plex
just
does.
likes Game Pass. So yeah,
Yep. So
Yeah.
real quick, just so you
Yes.
guys know, that is the number one reason why the Abacus, known as the Switch, gets a lot of use in my house. Until Nintendo, and I have said this far and wide. I've spoken to Microsoft. I've said it to people who work for them. Until they get a controller the size of little people hands, Switch continues to dominate in my house. They would love
like
to play
this?
nothing more. Yes, exactly.
look, it even lights
like
up.
that. You know what? Don't even make it first party. Let 8-Bit Dough handle it. Let them give you proper tiny controllers. But until then, my kids always have to play on the Switch because this is too big for their little hands. Just a thing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. I like that Def Leppard's.
What do you say?
Down
If Switch 2 isn't back combat, I'm going to be pissed. Yeah, I just saw someone else say
You won't
that
be the only
too.
one.
I mean, I think a lot of people will be pissed, but
I think
I'm
Hyperkin
just
makes
not
a
sure.
small
I'm not sure it would. I'm not sure
Yes,
it'll,
they do.
it'll like hurt them. To be honest with you, because it's freaking Nintendo. They're just like,
Oh no, they put
everything
out like
just
30
rolls
things a
right
year
off
and
of
it's
them.
fine.
Yep, yeah, it's crazy.
They've got 20 games in the vault ready to go whenever they need them. So
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move on to another game that I said last week. I think it was last week that I had a feeling this one was gonna eat it a little bit because the plethora of games that are coming out is just insane in October. September and October were just crazy, especially if you're an Xbox guy. AC Mirage. So Assassin's Creed Mirage, getting a 77 on Metacritic. Not everyone is loving it, but let me ask you guys real quick. Has anyone played AC Mirage? I haven't.
I reviewed
Jesse
it.
or K.Asante?
I paid
Okay,
20
there you
some odd dollars for it and I haven't played it yet. I
Right.
hear it's yeah, you know, got a good deal on it. I hear it's not the greatest because they gave you exactly what you want, and now you're like, oh, I don't think I wanted that.
That's where I was gonna go.
I've got feelings
what's
on
your
it.
thoughts?
So I reviewed
Yeah.
it. I don't even remember what score I gave it. That's how friggin'
What day did you
that's how
review it?
nonstop.
Which Jesse Norris was I when I reviewed it? Because there had to be the other robot.
I gave it an 8.2.
That's right.
Oh, not
Okay,
bad.
that's
What-
respectable.
what-
Yeah.
I'm not even. I mean, you hear 8.2, you're like, not bad. It's only 5. It's only 0.5 off of the actual full meta. The 77. A 77 is not bad. People are just so used to. Oh, an 8 is good. It's like, no, an 8 is 8. When you're in the 8s, it's great. When you're in the 9s, holy shit.
Yes. Absolutely.
A 77 is fine, especially. So it is not old Assassin's Creed. It is new Assassin's Creed pared back. They took out the leveling systems. They took out the scope. They took out a giant open world for a very large open world. It's still not. It's not small. It's an entire city of Baghdad and the surrounding area,
Right.
and one other area where you train in. It's a very good story. It is 1000%. It's better if you've played Valhalla and know the ending of Valhalla, because Basim is from Valhalla and was a key part of that story.
This is before Valhalla, right? Or is it after?
This
Before
is
Valhalla,
10. This ends about 10 years before Valhalla.
right?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
All right.
it's starting out as Basim as a thief. He eventually ends up becoming a hidden one, which were the proto assassin guild. You're going against the Order, whatever the hell the Templar guys are called back then. It's good. It's not super long. I beat it in about 14 hours. If I did all the side stuff, it would have been 20, 25. It's just, it is modern Assassin's Creed feeling, but with a lot of the RPG mechanics stripped out or vastly lowered down. Like pretty much all of your upgrades and abilities and everything are just story gated. It's not an experience system. You will get leveling points once you finish a main quest, and then you just get 2 or 3 of them at a time. There's light upgrades. They don't up damage or stuff a ton. They just more unlock or enhance the single unique ability a sword has. Like, oh, when I do a stealth kill with this sword, I get some health back. This one just does better straight hit damage. It's like baby's first Assassin's Creed without while still playing like a very stealth focused one, instead of being the more superhero. Like, you had Dark Souls inspiration in Origins, you had just kick-ass action fighting, nonstop godlike badassery in the best one, Odyssey, and then you went a little back to Souls style combat in Valhalla, where again you still were a god. But yeah, it's going back to the roots this much, like just a bit.
Okay.
But everyone's like, oh, this is going to be old
not
Assassin's
fully
Creed.
there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, it actually plays well. That's how you know it's not old Assassin's Creed. It plays well. So,
Well, I wanted to, I see, I haven't played it, so I didn't know, like, one of the questions was like it was going back to the old formula a mistake. It doesn't seem like they went fully really back to the old
It's
formula, like you said.
more
like,
focused on stealth, but also like you can just beat the shit out of 5 people, run 20 feet that way, hide. If they don't see you, you're good. Reset it. It's like, it's very easy. So I ended up putting it on hard just to have some challenge on the combat side of it. But yeah, I mean, it's going more for feeling like the old one without actually jumping all the way back and having like tons of climbing puzzles and really stretching out the open world.
Can I ask you a question about that? And this is a bit out of left field, but I have to ask because you've gotten a chance to play it a bit more. People are using Assassin's Creed Mirage as the second coming. Oh, it's finally here. We can now play AAA games on our phones, and you know what I'm talking about. Right?
Yeah.
I saw that
iPhone,
and I thought it was snake oil, right? Because they didn't say you're playing Odyssey or Origins on the phone, which is this
Yeah.
monster title that has so
Mirage.
many tentacled systems. No,
Yeah.
they told you this pared back variant of it is coming on it. I say
Right.
maybe they initially started with the phone in mind, so they scaled
That's
it
what I
pretty
was
well.
wondering too.
Well,
I'm so
what
glad
Mirage-
you mentioned that, Kay.
Mirage was just an expansion for Valhalla, and then it
Yeah.
grew in scope so much that they eventually were like,
Standalone.
we'll make a
So
full
it's
game out of this.
it's
Yeah.
a Assassin's Creed Miles Morales, basically. I mean, that's why it's a
Yeah.
$50 price point too, right?
Expandalone. Expandalone.
Right.
That's what they're
Yeah.
called. But I guess my question about this, Jesse, is am I right? Because I haven't had a chance to play it. And myself and folks we've been in hot debate. People are going, seeing Mirage on a phone means AAA games are here. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. It means they know how to message it to you very well to fool you into thinking AAA games.
They're also
are here.
running at
There's one
720p 30 too, right? Kay? Like,
There's
isn't that
one thing about
eh.
all of these phone versions, and is that they're all last generation available. Mirage is on Xbox One and PS4. Resident Evil 4 was on that. Death Stranding was on that. You're not getting modern titles. You're getting the pared back version of modern titles. We don't know how
Right.
they look. We don't know how they're run. We don't know what the battery life will be. I don't know
Yeah.
how the UI. I don't know how the UI is going to translate to a tiny screen. That has always been one of the main problems with xCloud.
Yep.
So it's going to come down to like anytime everyone thinks that Apple's all in on gaming and this is going to be it, it's not. So just assume that.
True.
It's
We've
not
heard it
going
before,
to be
right?
that. We've
Yeah.
heard it 1,000.
Temper
I'm
your
not. I'm saying
expectations.
1,000. I mean 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. I've been talking about
Yeah.
this forever. Yeah.
So there you
You're
go.
not
Thank
not
you,
wrong
sir.
there.
There you go. I just wanted to
Yeah.
be sure.
I was,
I
you know,
might be
Kay,
wrong.
I had that in my notes and I wasn't going to bring it up because I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to care about the iPhone angle of this. But I'm glad I wasn't the only one who's thinking it.
And
I
how are these
care,
going to be on a
because that snake
touchscreen?
oil's terrible.
None
Yeah.
of these are going to play well on a touchscreen. They just
Right.
You know what I say?
I
all
just
the
hate
time?
that
I'm like,
experience.
you
So
guys are. This is the weirdest thing, right? The people who are okay playing on touchscreens don't want to play AC, right? The people who do want to play AC don't want to play it on the touchscreen. So who is this for? I'd play it, but not on the touchscreen. My kids love touchscreens. They could give two craps about Assassin's Creed or anything of that ilk. So why
that's
are
always
you
the Apple
marketing-
angle on gaming. It's like what Stadia did. It's like, who is this actually for?
Yeah, those who would play
yeah.
it don't want to, and those who would play it would play a different game, not Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, most people who are going to play Assassin's Creed or RE4 Remake or Death Stranding have played it.
Have played it. Yeah.
You're getting
Yeah,
old
that's true.
games. You're not like the thing with gaming, and the reason Google and Amazon and Apple always bow out is because, unlike Microsoft, they didn't want to go and just lose billions of dollars. Like even this generation, Microsoft, they said we are going to lose $1.5 billion on hardware. Everyone's like, how come these are still $500 boxes? It's like because they're cost $650 to make. Like it's really, and prices aren't going down very quickly anymore. It just isn't happening in the same way. So if they do a refresh, it's going to be $500. It's not going to be cheaper, especially if you have better things in it, like we saw.
Sure.
So in the end, it's like people want to play these big games in a good way. You want to play phone games on your phone. You don't want to play console or PC games on a phone as your main option, which you have to do when the games cost $60. Like it has, I'm not spending $60 for a second option. Oh, it's got cross save on a Mac. Well, no one games on a Mac anyway, so it doesn't. Who cares?
Well, but they could soon.
But
It's so amazing. Oh my God.
Some of them have cross buy,
it's coming,
not all
Jesse.
of them. Like,
you just
I don't
hate
get-
technology.
I don't get
No,
why
no.
some of them have cross buy, but not all of them.
Yeah.
Look, I'll be honest with you. The Macs could potentially upend gaming if anybody actually were to care enough to leverage the tools they use.
For
Ain't
the
nobody gonna
last
do that.
20 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody gonna do that because the ship has already sailed. People, get your
Yeah, they're
Macs
too far
out
behind.
of
It's
the
like-
gaming sphere.
It's like, is this the year of Linux on desktop? Is this the
Oh
it's like-
God, I can't. Yeah, I can't. I almost feel like that's
yeah,
worse
they've
than
got
the
their
Mac
positives and
conversation.
they've got their
I'm-
people love the
I'm looking
positives,
at you,
they
Lucy
ignore the
Augustus.
negatives.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's before I jump off of the AC Mirage thing, because AC Mirage is a good example of this topic I want to kind of bring up, and that is shorter experiences on gaming in general. Like you said, like, you know, this is supposed to be more more of a linear game. It's not supposed to be open world. It's not supposed to have like a million side quests where it's like 100-hour plus game. So I'll start with UK. We'll go, like the reverse order. What do you think? What's your take on Mirage? Was $50, so it was less. It's a shorter experience, but in general, what's your take on shorter games and shorter? This day and age can mean 15 to 30 hours, I guess. Like, are you okay? What do you think?
Okay.
What's your take?
I need the shorter games, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I have a life.
Thank you.
I have kids. I have a business. I have
Yeah.
so much to do, and I want to play these games. And here I am with Andreja resenting me in the back of my skull for the past 80 hours, man. Right? I need a beginning. I need a middle. I need an end. So I need to move on. I'm a man with children and a life.
You got stuff to do, right? Yeah.
Play Solar Ash. I beat it in 2.5 hours.
Solar Ash looks great. It's on my list.
I didn't like Solar Ash so much. I didn't like.
It's too
Not
repetitive.
for you?
It's very pretty,
Oh,
and I like the concept, but a little
It is
too
very pretty
repetitive.
game.
The dev
Yeah.
team is amazing. They literally started out on Game Maker. They made the first. I forget the first game they made.
Jeez,
So
they were on
amazing.
Game Maker. That's crazy.
Yes, they made
Good
it
for-
on
that's
Game Maker,
big.
and it made so
That's
much of
awesome.
a splash that they got a chance to now make Solar Ash. Solar Ash is
Yeah.
not a Hyperlight Drifter. The first game, Hyperlight.
Oh.
Yeah,
Drifter.
Hyperlight
Oh, I didn't
Drifter
know
was
that.
one of my top games of last generation.
Top
That was made on.
game.
Wait,
Most
are you telling me that was made?
made
That was
on
made of
Game
Game Maker.
Maker.
Holy crap! Okay.
In the
All right.
amazement.
Wow.
Right? So whenever Heart Machine comes out, I'm like, you got my heart, baby. Show me what you got. I didn't like Solar Ash so much, and then they pivoted and they
It's-
have the next variant of Hyperlight coming out. So I'm like, okay, I'm back in
Hyperlight
it. I'm back
Breaker.
in it.
Yeah,
Yes,
which is like three.
I'm
It's a
back in
3D
it.
one. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, I am one who is I'm there. I enjoy the beginning, middle, and ends. I know there are
Yes.
those who love the hey, who's gonna come out and play? Like, you guys don't see me online much because more often than not, if I'm playing, every once in a while I gotta be like, I'll be right back because the kids are doing something. I'll be right back because
Yeah.
I can't pause.
That's why
I
we
don't wanna
haven't
be
got
that
K to
guy.
play. Right. That's why we can't get K to play Fortnite with us. We're gonna break him one of these days.
You'll
But
only
yeah,
get me
like,
to play
he's got stuff.
Fortnite after 7 p.m. because that's when the children go to bed. Now that is, of
Right.
course, on the rare occasions when dad is not like sleeping.
Right. Already
You know what I'm saying?
passed out yourself.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So for me,
One thing.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, I was gonna say I keep seeing people in chat being like, "Well, it's $50. It's actually more." It's like it's an Ubisoft game, so on Black Friday or on Christmas, it's gonna be like $30.
It's gonna be like nothing.
There you
Yes,
go.
yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'm
it was
not
already
arguing at that
$30 now.
point.
I found
Yeah.
it for $30 right now, Mirage. So I was like, okay, I'm
there you
totally
go.
in there.
Yeah.
Right? So
Hmm.
Yeah.
I guess I say all that to say, for me, I guess I speak for all the hashtag graybeards out there when I say, please keep giving us these shorter experiences. I like a
Do you
beginning, a middle,
care-
and end, and I move on.
Do you
There you
care if it's 20 hours at $70 though? Does that make a difference in your head?
So okay, so if Cocoon was $70, I would have had a problem. Right?
Yeah.
Because
getcha.
Cocoon is amazing. I mean, it is one of the most amazing, cool little bespoke experiences I've had in a long time. But it's like 4
Yeah.
or 5 hours max, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I think they're going a little bit too far, right? Anytime double digits, shut up, gamer. How many times you like? What did you spend? What did you spend to watch Endgame? How long was Endgame? How much did you spend? Like, I spent almost
Yeah.
$20 when you consider
I know
the
what you're
kids
saying.
and the popcorn and the this and that, and it was like 3
Yeah.
hours max, right? If it's
Yeah.
double digits, and you're getting your $70. Shut up, gamer.
I like that take. I'm cheaper than you, so sometimes my mind can't help but take number of hours for what I'm getting. But
Oh no, I
but
get
I'm
that.
kind, but I'm with
totally
you,
do.
Kay. I'm
I
kind
do,
of with
yeah.
you. I'm like I'm getting older, and I want some of these shorter experiences personally. But Jesse, what's your take on length of games, price of games related to length of games too? And do
Yeah, I
shorter
mean-
games bother you?
No, I mean, I know people are saying like we need more. There's so many games in every price bracket, every length bracket. Like you can spend, I don't know, like $30 and get one of the best games of the year in Dredge, which isn't super long. I think I beat that in 10 or 15 hours.
Yeah.
Like there are so many games like that. The issue is there are so many games that people can't find them all. Discoverability is one of the hardest things. Thankfully, Dredge did really well. They sold over 1 million, which still somehow
That's
wasn't
great.
enough to help Team 17 from having to fire a bunch of people.
To
But
layoffs, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like
Yeah.
there are
Look
so
what Ivy is
many
saying here, right?
titles.
Look what Ivy just said
I think
there.
though, like when
Titanfall
I'm
2's
talking,
campaign.
I'm talking about triple
sorry.
A's though too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's
For
where
the
my
triple
mind
A's,
goes. Like
yeah.
I think it's more like a based like people get a little rowdy when it's a triple. Miles Morales is a great example where there was all kinds of crap on the internet, even though it was $50, where people were losing their minds because
unless you wanted Spider-Man
it was a
remastered.
DLC, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have a
forced to
problem with
spend
it either. I'm all about it. Give me some shorter experiences. I need that. So not everything is Valhalla. I can't do 3 Starfields in a couple months, guys. I can't do it. You know what I mean? So I love some of those shorter experiences.
But to your point, RHETRI, look at this super chat here by Ivy, right? 12-hour campaign for Titanfall 2. If in 2023, 2024, we had an amazing game called Titanfall 2 that you haven't played before, and it's 12 hours and it's $70, would you complain? That campaign? No, you wouldn't.
Not
you
that
would
one.
not complain.
Not that one.
No, but that's my
because
point,
it's
right?
so right.
Titanfall was about
quality.
Titanfall was only about
like,
6 hours or so, actually.
Yeah,
very short.
Well, 6 hours
It
for
was
you,
very
Jesse. For normal people,
it's very
good at
replayable.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I love that point that you brought up. I'm glad you said that, Kay. And bringing up that chat, that was a very good point. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I don't think that it doesn't need to be black and white, and I hate that the internet lives on this black and white world. It's one or the other, yes or no. Like you're on one side or the other, and it's not.
Every
it's very much in the
conversation,
gray, right?
Doesn't matter from the most normal fan to the biggest journalist name you know. Almost every conversation ends up becoming A versus B. Sometimes ABC, sometimes ABCD, but every conversation becomes a comparison. And so many people, like in the comments, I'll do a review and I'll review the thing I played and my experience. And so I try and you get objective fact mixed with subjective opinion. And they'll say, that should be subjective. I'm like, well, no, that's not a review then. That's just a stat sheet.
Right.
But
exactly.
in the end, they're like, well, what about it compared to this? And it's like, well, no, I'm playing this. If you want to compare it in your own head, that's fine. I'm just not going to make it never-ending comparisons because they've just been throughout all of human history, whether it's sports, religion, politics, games, anything, any type of media, it's always comparisons. And it's the
so do you hate
boring.
that like so you don't like doing comparisons at all, Jesse? Like you try to
it's
just
if it makes sense,
it on
especially if it's within the same really close same genre. Oh, it was inspired by this game. It's very obvious. How is it in comparison to that in these very light ways? But like there's so much people just rely on comparisons all the time instead of trying to figure out the right way to say how it made you feel. Like what was your experience with it? Not what is it like compared to this thing? Because that's just easier to do in the end. It's also so much of it's just about engagement and people are like, well, why do they always put out so many shitty things about Xbox? They must hate Xbox. It's like, well, no, it's the best Google SEO. Yeah, Xbox is the best SEO, and Xbox negative is easier to do.
It's even better.
Because like one of the reasons we exist, and it's like I have to say it all the time if I'm on like Game Mess with Jeff Grubb, is like we're not a fanboy site. You can tell by Nick. He doesn't give a shit about it.
Right.
It's a site of people who saw a gap in focused coverage, like knowledgeable about the platform. And you're like, well, we know about the platform. Maybe this would be fun to do. And it seems like we're okay at it. And so people watch. And I think that ends up being so much of it is it's very easy to keep your job and get engagement or try and build a brand by just constantly tickling the taint of console wars. Just the lightest little tickle. I'll dig in. I won't jump in myself. So then I can just say I'm above it. No, you dumb console warriors. It's like, well, no, you started it with all of your comparison shit. And that's what happens all the time. And it drives me crazy. And it's like, if I do the lightest pushback on something like with Redfall, which became a punching bag, and you'll see it. So there's a comparison I always have. Redfall, I liked it. I think I had a lot of fun with it. I played it for 40 hours before launch. And then when it launched, I was like, Jesus Christ, what is this? But there's a very specific situation for reviews where if you don't get a lot of time and no one's going to really be able to hit the embargo, I normally will try and do it because we're going to get a ton of views because I'll be the only one up. It's like what happened with Hi-Fi Rush. I got that. That was a shadow drop. So I did it for 15 hours straight. Review done. Bam, 20,000 views. It was great. But with Redfall and with Baldur's Gate, you saw the two different versions of it. You had a game that started in the 70s with Redfall, but then over the next month and a half got dragged down to 56, I think, on Metacritic, because everyone could get easy engagement by, instead of saying, I don't like this, it's not horrible, it's like a 5. It's like, no, this is worse than Gollum. I'm giving it a 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
and
extremism, man.
With Baldur's Gate, it was super positive. Everyone's really paying attention to that. Instead of it, I really like this game, but the combat kind of sucks, because I actually don't like the combat in that game at all. It is like playing a game of D&D with a GM who fucking hates you. People get in on that game, and it's like, well, yeah, 10. It's just I don't want to be the outlier, because being the outlier sucks. You get yelled at horribly. And
dude,
even subconsciously,
I
it's like
throw myself out as an outlier a lot, and I get a ton of shit, especially from Xbox guys. But you know what? Fuck them. Like whatever. Like Jesse, honestly, like a lot of times, like when I'll look at a bunch of different reviews, and I always go to you guys, because you guys, like, I feel like are in my head. I'm like, yep, that's the score I would have given it. So I appreciate what you guys are doing. You're doing great work over there.
Definitely.
So like one of my absolute go-tos, without a doubt.
I gotta jump in real quick, guys. Sorry. Gotta jump in real quick.
Dave.
We have over 140 people in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. And please do us a huge favor and hit that like button. That helps us so much, and it's a little thing you can do.
I had an angry comment today. We started talking about hit the like button yesterday, and it's like, anyone who asks me, I'm not going to watch it.
You're not allowed to do that.
It's like, and I'm not going to join your Patreon. I'm poor. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to spend a penny. You can,
you can
use
click.
this much movement and click. That's it.
But you don't have to. It's cool.
Shut up.
All right. So anyway, we've got 3 super chats. We need to knock these out real quick. So let's get going on these.
Let's do it. Alvin with the $5 super chat. In a world where I have a plethora of short experience as Game Pass and PS Plus, in that world, I want my premium $70 purchases to be hardy, just me. Yeah, I mean that's a great point, Alvin. And that's kind of what I was asking. That's kind of the direction I was going at.
You can I think you can have a hardy. You can have a hardy 15-hour experience. Like, it doesn't have to be super long. If it's super impactful and just great, and it feels right, then I think that's normally fine. If it's like 6-7 hours, if it's like The Order 1886, it's really fun, but it's just way too short and you have to watch too much, then that's when I have a problem with the full price game being super short. But if you're just an incredible 12 hours, that is very obviously there's a reason it costs $70, then I think it's fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It very much, like you say, it depends on the experience, right? Tate talks with the $10 super chat. If people are willing to game on the Switch in handheld mode and pay $60 for it, why are they hostile to an iPhone Pro version that is superior in every way? Well, that might be the first problem, what you just said, maybe. If controls are an issue, get a key sheet. I don't know. Anyone want to tackle this? I'm not so sure.
iPhones aren't the same price as a Switch, and they're not a console gaming device.
That's a really good point. Yeah, you're gonna have to spend like 3x, right? To versus the Switch versus an iPhone.
How much are you gonna get out of it? How many games will come to it?
Salute to Ty. He and I go back and forth on various topics in the background. Great brother.
I love that you brought that up.
Games. Yeah,
amazing.
He challenges the people. You know,
I love the challenge, man.
I too agree that, you know, and I know this conversation that, you know, sometimes old gamers or just gamers in general don't like they don't like to let go of their old, right? They embrace the new. You know, we're the ones in horse and buggy going, this square box thing will never take on. Right? I hear you. I'm a bit of a technologist, so I usually don't do that. I enjoy the new. I embrace the new. My consternation here, the way I'm thinking about it here right now is like knowing the technology as I do and paying attention to it as I do. Right. Apple is not following suit where the technology is leading. They're putting the cart before the horse, and they're lying to you, like marketing you to make you think you're there when you're not there, right? They're just not there. They are not there. And yes, they can do 1 or 2 little cool, interesting things that convince you, but you're not getting your AAA games as you know it.
You remember the more performant than a 3090.
Exactly.
Never ever trust any electronics company's marketing slides. Don't trust AMD. Don't trust NVIDIA.
Jesse's right.
It's not
Nobody's.
about the new tech versus old tech. It's about who's selling you that bill of goods, because I know them, and they're not necessarily the best. They don't push the ball forward. They just push your money in their pocket. That's all they do, right? So that's why I'm a little dubious when it comes to specifically that avenue of it. But
listen to these gray beards being all negative about the technology. Don't listen to these fools. You're fine.
It's realism.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly.
Meddling kids.
I'm with you.
Hey, Jesse, just so you know, I did make you a moderator in there too, so you do have.
Thank you. I noticed I'm blue.
Yes, you do have the power.
I'm immediately going to ban
changed
Nick if he says anything.
Exactly. There you go.
All right. We got a $5 super chat from PK Thunder. Whoa. He says, Jesse hit it on the head. Social media has made a battlefield of comparisons. Yeah. We see gender wars, console wars, spiritual wars, and political wars. Yeah. I mean,
that is human history is a battle of comparisons, if we really look at it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to change anytime soon, guys, that's for sure.
With some of the changes in the way X is going, it's only gotten worse. It was always there, but it's gotten very bad.
Yeah, it's just a spot, right? It's always there. Now it's just a spotlight on it, so now we're all noticing it. I like this from Def Leppard said, Apple will sell more iPhones than the PSVR 2 will.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He's not taking that bet.
They've probably done that right now, and that Apple.
Yeah, they did that in the last hour. Yeah, absolutely. Spartan661 with the $5 super chat. What's up, Spartan? Good channel member, a good person in the community here. Merrimack to Conway to Gorham. And to Lancaster is full of amazing views. Mount Washington is beautiful to see as well in the state of New Hampshire. What's up, dude? Yeah, New Hampshire calling out right here. I'm from New Hampshire. What's going on?
I am originally from Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Oh, there we go. All right, we were neighbors at one time. Jesse,
chipped a tooth in New Hampshire, going whitewater.
Don't blame New Hampshire for. How'd you do that? By the way, I forgot. How did that happen?
So I was whitewater rafting,
something bad,
really big, really like bad rafts. I went with COD players. Let's just be honest; they are weekly bodybuilders, weekend COD players. Now, real quick, when you go to one of these things, you go to whitewater rafter. You're usually in the pool with a guy who teaches you what to do, and you could tell these heads thought they knew more than they should. I'm the token black. I'm sitting there going, I'm waiting to be instructed. Right? I'm waiting to be instructed. These guys are like, we're gonna take care of it. So the first huge what is it, raft that comes and it hits you, instead of they were supposed to provide us instructions, but I saw the guy and he was like, I'm gonna get these guys, I'm gonna take the wind out of their sails. So he let it slide, and everybody just went under, and my face hit a tree in this underwater.
Oh damn.
So listen to your instructors when you go water rafting, and also stop playing so much Call of Duty.
For bad things to happen in New Hampshire, that's probably one of the better ones you can have.
Oh yeah. But this was like a weekend of debauchery with drinking and
Every time I've gone whitewater rafting, there's drinking involved, and man, I have a good time. But I've fallen off too, man. You can. I saw one of my buddies, a big muscular dude. I saw the panic in his eyes. He was like, I'm going to die and drown, even though he had a life vest on. But man, I was looking at him, literally laughing as we're going down the river, because he looked like
instructors like to break your will. They want to break your will. They see
do.
You big and strong. They're like, I see you, and then you get missing.
Yeah, I'm gonna set you straight. I'm gonna knock you down a few pegs. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to anyone from New Hampshire. What's up, 661?
I hope you're enjoying your meth, New Hampshireites.
Oh boy.
Where I'm from, it ain't so great. Let me tell you, I'm from Manchester,
I'm not making anything up.
No,
listen, no hate if anyone's from Manchester, New Hampshire, but it's a complete shithole now. It's not the place I grew up in. Let's just say that. Anyways, all right. Let's move on to Redfall getting an update, a timely update, because hey, it's Redfall. It's a spooky, scary game for October. Getting their 60 frames per second update. I think a lot of what I've been seeing is, and the question I have too, because this is always a good question, is, do we think? I'll start with you, Jesse. Do you think Redfall has a snowball's chance in hell of a resurgent, kind of like a Fallout 76 or a Sea of Thieves or any of those games that didn't start out so hot that we're backed up by Microsoft and the developers and are now in a much better place. Do you see Redfall as having a chance of maybe getting some sort of resurgence here, or what's your thoughts?
It's not a game as a service. It's not a live service game. So in that sense, it's not going to become popular. Get some players back, do better, especially on Game Pass. I know people love looking at Steam concurrence, and I'm like, I will never give a shit about. I don't care about Steam concurrence when a game's on Game Pass. I don't, because I don't know how it's doing on the Microsoft Store, on Game Pass. I don't know. It doesn't freaking matter. We found out even a classic PC game in Starfield, Bethesda's all about PC. It was about a quarter, if maybe a little less than a quarter, on PC compared to console. Like, it's just the Xbox ecosystem, which is everywhere. So in the end, I think it will do okay. It might get more back when they do the 2 operators, depending on how they are, because that is new. As it is now, it somehow looks even better while running at 60. Like, I don't know how the hell they did that as Black Magic.
Yeah, that's what I've heard from some people. Yeah.
It's super clean. Like, I don't notice it looking worse at all, and it runs really well.
Okay.
The bigger things were the control changes. The controller actually feels really good instead of just feeling okay, but a little off. It's very good now, and it's the first time Arcane's ever done that, because Arcane controller presets suck shit.
I'm with
console.
you on that one, Jesse. Yep.
And adding in stealth, which they actually haven't had in a lot of their games lately. Like, didn't have it in Deathloop. They're not huge on stealth takedowns, but now that's in, and it definitely adds more to it. But as somebody who really enjoyed Redfall, it's a lot better than it was at launch as an overall package, but it's still the same package. It's just one that's a little better to interact with now. So I don't think it's going to have Sea of Thieves had no content. Now it's got a bunch of content. This is Redfall. Now this is Redfall playing better. So it's not going to be, it's not going to be similar to that, and it'll probably never do what they hoped, because they actually thought the game would review in the 70s. So, but yeah, I mean, it was the classic. It came out, it had issues, and it was just a dog pile of easy engagement, which just set it on a trajectory where it's considered a joke now. And like, people I know and I really
when it loses 20 points, right? Like you said, Jesse, earlier, it was sitting in the 70s and then dumped down to like 56 at one point.
Every late review is a 2 to 4. It's 56.
Bingo. That's exactly what I saw.
Every late review was way over the top. It's not, this isn't great. This is terrible and broken, which is just not true for most of the times these reviews came out. But it was just one of those games where it was really easy to just dogpile it. You weren't enjoying it. You're seeing others aren't enjoying it. You're getting into it late, so that means like the feeling around the game is very negative. So I'm not just going to be negative and go like a 6 is what most people do for negative AAA. I'm going to go 4 or 3 because this is the one I can really go after, and people are going to go, yeah, you got him. Like that type of rah-rah mentality, which happened around Baldur's Gate 3 in the opposite way, where it's a really good game, but they gave people 5 or 6 days to review a 150-hour game. And you can read a lot of the early reviews that don't mention how bad it runs in the later acts because they probably didn't get to them. It was just like, it's one of the things that drives me crazy. There's not grand conspiracies. There's not, well, this website just wants to go after Xbox or this thing or that. Like people think. People might have inherent biases. They might have things they grew up playing on, things they know better. But on the most part, if you read them, like I can read a negative review of Starfield and be like, I don't think you knew how to play the game. And then I can listen to that person talk about it after the fact and be like, yeah, you kind of missed a lot of the tutorials. By the way, there's a whole tutorial section, and they go respond and go, oh wow, I didn't know. Cool, thank you. And it's like, sometimes people just miss stuff, and I think with Redfall trying to claw its way back from that, it probably never will. It'll get over the years, it might be seen more positively, but I don't think it'll ever become some sort of like big success story, because this is an incredible patch and you barely see any mention of it from the big
Right.
players. So
Yeah, we're not seeing a big uptick. I don't know.
That's
Kay,
true.
what's
You know,
go ahead, Dave.
let's get K's thought on that, and then we'll get to that super
Yeah.
chat.
Oh no, I by and large I completely agree with Jesse. You know, it's a single player game.
you
They
better.
have no, because the man knows what he's talking about. I'm just saying, but you know,
Yeah.
you don't have any incentive to keep playing. But I will say, in a vacuum, because remember we're talking. This is the Netflix of games, if you will, and
Yeah.
at some point, someone who's not about all of this conversation and who's not in this bubble will most likely join Game Pass at some point, a year down the line, or maybe 2 years down the line. And
Maybe
like
it's the
Stranger
spooky
Things,
season.
it'll be the spooky season. And like Stranger Things, we'll discover this thing and go, wow, this is absolutely pretty good. Why did I not hear about it? I will
Right.
say, why the hell did this thing release back then? It should have released now. Even if it's in its they were
Yeah.
talking about,
I
they were
I
looking
think I
for
know why.
mid-70s. Please tell me, because I think it probably would have gotten the mid-70s had it released now.
We all saw we saw the documents of what Bethesda was planning before
Mm.
they were bought.
Yeah.
They were in a mindset of desperation, especially because of the Providence Equity Group that was
Mhm,
their majority owner, who was like, you got to go
Yep.
do games as a service. So their
Yep.
whole
Mhm.
mindset for years and years was, we got to get shit out. We got to get Starfield out in 2021. We have to. We need
Mm.
that money, which is the reason they were looking to be bought. It wasn't like Xbox just swooped in and tried to pull a
Sure.
Vivendi on Ubisoft. It was they were in a scenario, and Phil talked about it afterwards with the communication part, which is like Arcane could have just come to him and said, we need more time. Like they didn't really know.
Yeah.
So it ends
Yeah.
up being on both sides. It's like Arcane
Yeah.
not used to being owned by Microsoft, not
Yep.
making a game in a genre they didn't want to originally. They're then allowed to
Right.
strip that out, but it's not strip it out and spend 5 years rebuilding it. It's just change what you
Strip
have.
it out and keep it
like-
going. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like what we're gonna have with Suicide Squad next year again.
Yeah.
They're gonna change it. It's not gonna be gone completely gone.
You know what, Jesse? I will be slanderous because that's what I do, and I will say it. I've said it in many places,
Mhm.
and I always expect people to push back, but I haven't gotten it back yet. All that sauce that you put in there, I agree with. And in addition to the fact that, and here comes the slander, it started as a third-party game, which tells you what? It started
Mm.
as a PlayStation-focused game. So all that, and then it didn't get released on PlayStation, gets released on Xbox. I will say it starts out as a PlayStation game. And why do I say that? Because as we all know,
We know.
development's layer cake,
Yeah.
right? They start developing for the biggest pool, and the biggest pool is not
Yes.
Xbox, right?
Right.
So even if you're at the end and you're now first party, in comparison to the lifetime of that project, you've been first party for a blip on the damn radar. You're not using the tools that makes that hardware special. You'd have to spend time using those tools or optimizing for that hardware. So I say all that to say, even though the L's were taken, I really wish Microsoft had seen this and delayed it until right now. Because it wouldn't be like you're saying, it's not going to be like the greatest game ever. It's not going to set the world on fire. But I feel that first impression would have been much better. Like I dabbled a little bit in it so far.
Mhm.
The AI is much better. Like 60 frames has never been a problem because I was playing on a PC. But
That was actually
the
one of
AI
the
was
first changes
terrible.
was so the AI just like
Mhm.
it was broken on because it's all server based. It was broken on the back
Yeah.
end. They actually got a hotfix out pretty quickly that made them activate correctly because they would
Sure,
just stand
sure.
there a lot of times because it didn't.
Yeah.
AI was some of the worst I've ever seen.
It was
bar
dog
none.
crap,
It
right?
didn't start. It
It's
did not
so
initiate.
better now, right? It's much
Right.
better now. You know the big famous thing where you go into the first main area, your first safe area, and on the ground there's the logo of the what do you call it? The lighthouse or whatever.
Firehouse.
The firehouse.
Fire station.
And it would
yeah.
never populate correctly.
It took a
so you
full minute.
Yeah.
go up and it would pixelate, showing you. That's the first thing I checked. All gone. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
There are others that also take a while to populate, meaning I'm hoping they still have some more patches in the chamber. But I think it's awesome that they're at least, getting it to a point where they can then take their hands off of it. And if anybody were to just show up and play that game in a bubble, you'll go, hey, this thing is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. We shouldn't expect, I don't know, No Man's Sky or Cyberpunk or whatever. Of course not.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
you started with a promise, right? It didn't live up to the dream you wanted to live up to. You now have the backing of Xbox, I think they're making good. I think that's awesome. And hopefully then Arcane Austin can move on and go do something else. Yeah.
Right.
It's what
Right,
P. Hines talked
something.
about, where it's always going to be on Game Pass. So because of
Exactly.
that, they want to get it
Yes.
into a good place because it's
Yep.
always going to have that potential
Because it'll be
30
there
plus million
forever.
audience.
Someone will always come
Yes.
and be like, "Hey, what is this game?" And it won't be
Yeah.
us because we're not in
Right.
the bubble. And
Because
for
we've
that
already done it.
reason,
It's
it may be their very next favorite game because it's now
Right.
good versus when we started. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I
it's one
think
of
it
the
has
main
a
reasons
slight
why. I was just
Go
gonna say
ahead.
one of the main reasons why they don't shut down servers very often too is because they know people are going to come in later.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
What were you gonna
I
say,
just
Dave?
think it has a chance because it's going to be there, and at some point you may just like, I heard they made some changes. Let's go back and try it, and you may at least
Give it a shot.
enjoy it. You may not. It may not, like you said,
Yeah.
complete flip, turn around, be the greatest game ever made. No,
Right.
but at least it
Just
at
needs to
least
be
you
good.
know, yeah, exactly. At least it'll be playable
Right.
at some point. We got a couple super chats we need, and one of them I don't understand, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm confused, but if it's this one,
Yes.
PK Thunder Woe with the $5 super chat. I got banned for just testing the panel about Starfield, Forza, and Redfall. I'm not
You
quite
would not
sure.
have been able
maybe,
to do a super chat.
Banned from
maybe
who?
I don't. Yeah, I don't.
That's
You
what-
mean
that's-
here, PK?
Yeah.
'Cause-
No, you're not banned.
Oh,
from
you're
it, though. He's
Yeah.
not.
He
He's
got
not.
banned from Critical Thought.
There you go.
Right.
So let us
Yeah.
know where you.
Maybe
what
you can
what mean by that,
elaborate.
but-
Yeah, maybe you can elaborate like in the chat
Yeah.
without doing a super
Yeah,
of what you mean
don't
there,
do a super.
brother.
Then he has another super
Um,
chat too. So there
yeah.
you go.
PK Thunder with another one. Beware of stay-at-home dads trying to fan the flames of console wars to perpetuate copy and paste misinformation on the internet. I hope you're not talking about me. I got nothing better
Yeah,
than
I
you.
hope you're not
No,
talking
I'm
about
kidding. I'm
All
kidding.
about
Yeah.
Retri.
He's talking about K. K ain't got time to play. He's got kids and stuff to be. Tell K to play some Fortnite. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, you know, it's the internet. You know, people. You know, take it to. I think there's got to be more nuance. You know what I mean? I think people just jump too much
Nuance
into
is hard.
extremes. Yeah, you know. So
Thank you for the super
it
chat.
is what it is.
We
Yeah.
appreciate that. Retro.
And
Yeah.
also, there's
appreciate
one
you.
other thing about Redfall, which is people are like, oh, I should have delayed it till October. It's like, no,
Yeah.
there's too much in October. There's already, and even just from an
That's-
Xbox
yeah.
perspective, Starfield and
Good point.
Forza and Redfall all within 2 months. It's like, I understand. I wish it had been, if they were going to delay it, probably just like past like January or
Delay it
something.
to
Like,
October 2024. By then it'd be even
Just
better.
go,
I'm just saying.
just go even
Not like you
further.
needed it.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of those people where we played a lot. We did live streaming. We played with the community as well on our community Discord channel. We had a blast playing Redfall, to be honest with you, but we made fun of it. There was a lot of problems. AI was the dumbest I've ever seen, but at the same time, we had a good time. You know what I mean? It's one of
it'd
those
be
games.
funny seeing you go back.
You know?
The vampires are really hard now. They kill you quick. Like they actually
Yeah.
swoop at you and hit you. You can't just circle strafe them anymore.
Okay, I did a lot of
yeah,
circle
they-
strafing. That was my thing.
So
Yeah.
like the Rook is really hard now. Like they've gone
The Rook
back. This
pretty
was a
tough anyways,
huge.
but yeah.
This was a huge. Well, he was just tough because he just hit hard, but he was also very
Right.
easy to avoid if you jump on a
To dodge.
cable or something.
Right.
But yeah, this was a huge patch, and it does make me a little sad. Like so many people were so happy to jump on it to shit on it, but in the end,
Yeah.
they didn't care to spend 2 seconds to look into what is this patch. Is it actually any good? And I kind of get it because it's so busy right now. But I mean, still, it'd be
Yeah,
nice.
I don't think it. Like, I agree with you, Jesse. Obviously, like after when it was in the 70s, people dogpiled on it and gave it the lowest scores they could possibly give it on their sites. This game does not deserve to be in the 50s, in my opinion. It didn't even when it first came out. I don't think it was in the 50s. 60s is fair, but it just got dogpiled on. But one of the things I do like about before we move off of Redfall is they added more circumstances where you would come across more enemies and stuff. I did feel like the world was a little bit empty, a little bit, not too bad, but
the
enough
first
where I
island
said-
definitely.
Yeah, 100% on the first island, absolutely. Where I was like, this feels like I should be running into more either vampires themselves or the cult that was there. But all in all, I had a good time with it, man. It was on Game Pass. They're not all going to hit. Hopefully they learned their lesson, but if you think this is going to be the last game that's going to, score low, you were sadly mistaken.
It had
in
the
my
issue
opinion.
where the second half, or it's more like the second 2/3, is in the second area is just like a lot more and better overall. Where you face
Yeah.
more of the military people, The story gets even better. Like a lot of if you get those grave locks, if you get 100 of them, extremely interesting story if you're really into searching around everywhere. But I like the game at launch. I like the game more now. Yeah, it was worth the death threats. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
I got some for that. I got
that's
way more for Armored
ridiculous.
Core. Way more.
How
from-
dare
you can't
with the
do.
game at its merit and like it for what it's giving you. Stop it, man. You gotta join the fray, man. You gotta enjoy
it's the people
chamber,
the people that yell at you for being Hive Mind Echo Chamber fanboy. But they're literally doing that to you because you didn't.
They're literally,
it's like,
yeah, yep. It's crazy. You know, sometimes we just got to agree to disagree and move on. You know what I mean? Like, just, it's people's opinions. That's what reviews literally are, guys.
I agree.
All right. Yeah. Yep. Dave, thank you, Dave.
I don't agree. But we'll move on.
See, fine. We'll agree to disagree on you not agreeing with me. Yeah, that was a tough one. My head's gonna burst. All right, let's move on to the next thing, and that was The Last of Us multiplayer project possibly being canceled. I don't know too much about this. I figured it was a good little thing to put in here because I have a PlayStation. I haven't touched it in a while. But do you guys think that this is actually going away? The multiplayer for The Last of Us, or
they're
do you
3
think
years past when it was supposed to release alongside The Last of Us 2. It didn't.
This was 2018, right? When they talked about it at first, so it's been hot.
And it was supposed to come out in
years.
2020 maybe it'll come with The Last of Us Part 2 when they remaster that one, which is their next project. I'm not even kidding.
I know.
But yeah, I think Sony has realized they can't just shoot 16 shots on games as a service like Herman Hulse was talking about. They probably need to focus on a couple because games as a service mostly fail and it's really hard. And they tried to just do a ton right off the bat and it's not going well. And even their main one, Destiny 2, is in shambles. Like, I don't think The Last of Us Factions is coming close because Naughty Dog has very much been in we're going to do things the Naughty Dog way. And that got us The Last of Us Part 1 on PC, which was a complete disaster because they just didn't know how to do it. They've got it in an okay place now. It's still sold like crazy because it's a huge series. But games as a service are really hard, and most of them fail miserably. And you can't toss all your eggs in that basket. Because if you do and it starts to fail, you end up having to quit and saying it's because of travel.
I love that, Jesse.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, I mean, there's the whole KOTOR. I always say KOTOR. I don't know, whatever. KOTOR thing with possibly that being, I don't know why. My brain, it is what it is.
It's all right.
That possibly being canceled too. Jesse, quick on that one. Do you think KOTOR is dead for real with Aspire, or do you think there's a chance that it's still?
I wonder if Kay agrees with me because the moment I saw coming from Aspire, I said that'll never come out.
Ouch. All right. Well,
it's
what do you say, Kay? What do you say? Yeah. Go ahead, Jesse.
Remaking KOTOR, that type of game, what Sony's going to want is going to be like 7 years of production from a 700 member team with 20 or 30 support studios. Like, it's way out of their budget.
Developers from like, it needs to be like the second coming of BioWare to do this justice. So,
I agree.
Like a mobile porting studio that I wouldn't call them fly by night, but what they were being asked to do, and I guess based on some deals they had the right of acceptance of some deal they made insisted that they would then get access to the very next deal first. Aspire did, so it kind of forced them to get the next IP, which was KOTOR, right? They weren't chosen for it. They kind of slipped that into their previous deals. So they had no choice but to get that, right? So good for you if you're able to swing it that way. But then you better make sure you're able to check you're able to cash the check that your ass writes. And clearly, as Jesse was saying, as soon as we heard where it's coming from, we're just like, I hope I'm wrong.
It's
look,
KOTOR. You've played KOTOR,
Yeah.
right? Like the amount of dialogue in that game is very large. And
And
what
let's be
Sony
clear,
would
though.
want, Sony wants really good cutscenes, and just making
That's right,
those
yeah.
alone is years and hundreds
Years
of
of
millions.
work. Yep.
Yeah.
And let's be clear though, not to say that it's impossible for no-name studios to come out of nowhere and blow people away. I will point you to Lies of P, right?
Yes.
I will point you.
Yeah, Neo
to-
Wiz. Let's
to-
go.
Yes.
Hexworks
to a
and
lesser-
Lords of the Fallen.
Lords of the Fallen, exactly. To a lesser extent, I'll even point you to the Russian devs who did what do you call it? Oh, geez, I keep forgetting. the
Atomic
name of
Heart.
that game.
Atomic Heart.
Mundworks.
Yeah.
Mundfish. Mundfish.
Yeah, Mundfish.
Mundfish.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
God, that
all
DLC
studios that came out of nowhere, right, and really put something out that would make people go, "Hey, this is excellent." So it's not to say it's impossible, but
Right.
yeah, these guys just didn't. It didn't look like the thread
That
they
scope
knew,
and scale. That was never. That scope and scale is something that you want to take, like, if and Sony wanted to be action RPG and not turn based or real time turn based like KOTOR used to be, where you would you'd queue up your abilities. So you're redoing all the combat, which means reworking all the balancing, which means reworking every combat encounter, which means and you want to make it all cinematic. You want every cutscene cinematic. You want all these incredible looking things. Like, even like you look at Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3's actual scope for the map is like this. Oh, where's that goblin camp? I don't know. Okay, let me walk 2 seconds in the game, and there's a goblin camp. But the people there don't know, and it's like it's a D&D map. Like you're looking at it like, this is a mile away in my headcanon.
So Jesse, tell me what you think about this. I think based on the scope and scale that we expected Sony would want from a KOTOR remake, it should have been being developed by Square.
Square could. It would have been horrible.
They want
Square's
that
voice acting and writing is bad.
I'm not saying that's what we all.
It needs to be that. No,
That's
it would have
totally
needed to be. It would have needed to be an internal team like Sony Santa Monica or something, and they're not going to do that. They
Like that.
just do God of War. But they wanted their games, their tentpole, and they're not going to get that from anyone that isn't them. They tried it with Callisto Protocol, failed miserably. It had unbelievable animations. It had pretty nice graphics, but the gameplay, you could tell everything was scaled up from what was originally a battle royale set in future PUBG. And then we're like, oh shit, we're getting a bunch of money from Sony. Let's rip off my old Dead Space game, but make it worse.
Yeah, we can't put the PUBG in there anymore. We have to disassociate out of nowhere. That's what happened. It's one of those things. They keep trying to fit round peg into square hole. It's a whole thing. The whole Last of Us thing. Every time I'm waiting for someone to talk to me about why it is that for some reason Sony can't seem to thread that needle, because they're better. They've been really good at it organically. They've been very good at it. Anybody that's paid the original factions becomes a factions stand. They love that game, right? It's not full gas, but it's multiplayer enough to where they could have added the gas elements in piecemeal, little by little, and not been abrasive with it. People loved that game. All the Uncharted multiplayers, people love those games, right? They're not full microtransaction heavy, but you could
They're
make
pretty
it work.
microtransaction heavy.
Yeah, sure. That is true. But the people who play it really swear by it.
Yeah,
right?
they're fun.
Right.
It just surprises me that they had all those initial forays into the mix, but then they seem to have tried to overcorrect when they realized they're behind the 8 ball, and they overcorrected so much so that even the marquee studios are being made to fit square holes into round pegs. Like, Naughty Dog shouldn't be asked to do this, right? They got you here doing what they do, and they do that best.
Naughty Dog is supposedly allowed to make whatever they want. They're like the golden child. So even there, it's like they wanted to do, and that's why they were like, we want to make the Naughty Dog way. And it's kind of funny because The Last of Us 2 didn't sell that great. It sold okay. Compared to its budget, I highly doubt it did good. Like God of War did really good.
Right.
Horizon did pretty good. Horizon Forbidden West did pretty good. But I don't think anything approaches the budget of The Last of Us. And like Spider-Man just murders them all, but that's not their IP. So then they have to hand a bunch of money over to Disney. But like the Last of Us is the marquee critical darling, but it's not their moneymaker. None of their first parties really their moneymaker. So in the
Right.
end, it's like and it's the thing that always got me. Game Pass not sustainable. How's it sustainable? Still hear people saying it's not sustainable, even after it's been explained. It's paying for itself. It's a-okay. People, pubs and devs like it. They come back to it. It's not hurting them. But the actual unsustainable business model was what Shaun Layden talked about years ago. It's just the ever expanding cost,
ballooning
of
budgets of
development,
AAA single player
development
games.
and marketing. Like people always discount the marketing that Microsoft
Marketing
kinda
is
doesn't do
almost
as much.
not taught. You're right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
There's a reason they
Jesse.
stopped.
Like, marketing is almost
They
never
don't do it
talked
that
about.
much. They do
Yeah.
targeted TikTok. They do targeted Twitter. They do targeted, well, less and less X.com. They do targeted marketing because they, especially like streamers, like a couple of really big streamers like Stroud and Co-Carnage playing Starfield for a week straight is worth so
That's
much
enough.
more than
That's
all
enough.
the old
Yeah,
school
yeah.
media you do. It's
Absolutely.
like you can take every IGN and GameSpot and everything they do, and it annoys them a lot because they get completely outclassed and influenced by streamers who are just sitting in their underwear in their friggin' basements having fun, shooting the shit with 25,000 people at a time.
Hey man, I'm wearing pants.
Jesse
right
knows
now.
I'm
Calm
not
down.
wearing. I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say Jesse knows I'm not wearing pants. He's on to me.
I never have socks or shoes
Oh,
or pants on. I just have shorts.
Let us-
I admit it.
I'm
Let us-
going to
let us
stand
not
up
talk about
now.
it. Let's not do it. Let's not do that. No, let's move
I
on.
turned
Let's
my
move on.
camera off.
I will say before we move on off of this topic, like I still have hope for Sony. I loved the first Helldivers. I thought it was a gem. I thought it was great. And the fact that they have Helldivers 2 coming out and they're really leaning heavy into the whole We Are Starship Troopers, hell yeah. Give me more of that.
I agree with that. I'm
I
all
didn't
about the
know-
Helldivers, but it's a completely different game though, right? Because the first one was a top-down
Yeah, now
shooter, and
it's-
this is not that.
It's now
Right?
third person
Well, now
over the
it's third
shoulder.
person. Yeah.
But
It's
I'm with you.
more
I'm with you,
Sony
Kay, like-
template-ish.
Yeah, right. That's true. So, Kay, before we do move on, though, I don't know. Did you say on The Last of Us multiplayer? Are you saying it's canceled, or what are your?
From everything we're hearing, rumor has it it's on ice. It's on ice. And I just think it's a shame. People like there's a lot, as we pay attention to this community. There's a lot of back and forth. Oh, how could Bungie come and tell them they're not? Maybe Bungie saw something and went, nah, fam, this is not it. Which, I
mean, you got to trust Bungie a little bit. I know Bungie's been through the ringer and shit, but who else are you going to ask? Who the hell?
I'm not
But I
trusting
mean,
Bungie right now.
Jesse,
Well, but
who are
see,
you
the reason
asking
why-
though? Like
the reason
on that
why-
side though, if you're not asking Bungie, you can't ask anybody else. Who you asking?
They know their
Why I
third-party
really need to
partners.
Trust Bungie is because they have been through that stuff. They go through that constantly. Great DLC, terrible DLC. Great DLC, terrible. And they got to deal with the death threat.
That's true.
Great DLC,
Yeah.
and then they're forgotten by the terrible DLC right
Yeah.
after. Right?
They get high
So
highs
maybe
and
they're
really
just
low
trying-
lows.
Yes,
So
maybe they're trying to
Bungie-
help Sony avoid some of that stuff. Ooh,
Bungie had a talk a few years ago, and they realized the way to do it sustainably was to give their customers less and charge them more. They're like, we were giving too much away for the price we were, and we couldn't keep up. People got an expectation that we would keep doing it. Like we would have a Taken King every time, we would have a Forsaken every time, and those are really good, and they're like almost entirely new games on their own. And they're like, yeah, we can't do that. That's why we end up having a Lightfall, which sucks ass because it's really hard to do that every time. So as long as the core is good, you add enough good stuff. You lower the expectations when you.
Isn't it funny, Jesse, how they said like right after they got bought by a AAA platform that they no longer have the money and they started cutting budgets and they started like firing people and they started mothballing. You'd think that when they get the big backing, that's when you're safe. It looks like they got the big backing and now they're going downhill, which is kind of unfortunate. But
it's always weird. Like Bungie has a ton of people that work there, like way more than the average place. Funnily enough, nothing close to Blizzard, who is like many thousands. But like people look at Halo and be like, well, how come they couldn't have the live services? Well, because they only had they didn't have an actual team built for it. That was the issue. They had everything else set up, but then the people in charge of determining how they were going to monetize it got it wrong, and they didn't actually have the live service team. And Bungie has had those teams, but they keep getting it wrong. Because it's the Warframe problem where it's so hard to come back in if you haven't played for a while. You miss so much.
It's funny you mentioned that.
They make so much content that then disappears forever. So it's like you're constantly doing this treadmill of content that doesn't get to be played for that long. It's
Yeah.
it's not a great setup.
Funny
They
you
only
mentioned Warframe. It didn't haven't they famously said they literally copied Warframe's model beat for beat? It's funny you mention it. Yeah.
it's
It's funny. Yeah.
it drives me crazy because the base gameplay is really fun. Like it's super heavy on the auto aim and pulling you to the head. It makes you feel great. On the raids are fun. Like there's a lot of really good stuff about Destiny, but it's never been a good live service game. It's been a successful one, but when I look at it, like the best live service model right now as a customer is Halo Infinite by far, because it's the only one that isn't about FOMO. Every battle pass is just there forever. You don't have to finish it in 3 or 4 months.
I too love that.
If that could become the standard, I think that
Yes.
would pull a lot more people into it that aren't already in it. And as much as everybody hated loot boxes and they became banned everywhere because they are gambling, like it was a better system than what Overwatch 2 has. The loot boxes, I could get every skin I wanted with a loot box if I was just playing the game and having fun. They showered me with them. Like a lot of times people will complain and say, I don't want this, but they don't realize what the alternative is going to be. And that's going to be a battle pass.
The alternative is
And I
worse.
really like look at Valorant. Valorant will sell you $85 skin packs for all the guns and people buy them nonstop. And it's like, the whales and everyone else are who they're going after. You not wanting to spend $10 on a battle pass. They don't give a shit. They're going to have some guy spend $2,000 a month because he's got a great job banking and he just comes home and he doesn't really want to grind all this shit. He just wants to buy it.
No. I want to make a quick audible, Retri, and then we're going to go to that last subject
go for
you
it.
talked about. But the quick audible is just kind of people's impressions of something that Jez had said on his show.
I already know where you're going.
Yeah. So I just thought this was very interesting.
Yeah, do it.
And we're just going to pull it up real quick and kind of get your.
Did his tweet about Forza Horizon would be better with gore that he just
I'm guessing it's Square. I'm guessing it's a Square thing. That's my guess.
You guessed. You guessed right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's see.
So do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay, I thought you were bringing up the video thing. All right, Jez Gordon says he's heard the Square Enix Xbox relationship could bring full-blown everything. That would be Jez in real time doing a 180, guys. It might take time because they haven't been in development. That means heavy hitters like Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy 16, not just smaller games. I'll start with you, K. What's your thoughts about Square? Do you think the relationship with Phil and what's going on with the new CEO at Square too, which I do think makes a difference. I think Square is kind of possibly seeing the light here. Do you think we'll actually see games like Final Fantasy 7 and 16 hit the Xbox ecosystem? Like, what are your thoughts about this?
So this is where I must co-opt my brothers and they're saying, and I have to call it exactly how they say it. And I say, everything you're seeing here is the rise of Darth Phil. There is no way this man is going to get on a stage, shake hands with Yoshi P and all the rest of them, and then you still give him scraps? Hell no. All of your heavy hitters, all your sacred cows now belong to us. AKA, like, there was no, like, the moment I saw that happen, I was like, oh man, them streets are going to be, the salt will flow because all of them will come. Now, when will they come? How will they come about? That will be interesting. There's rumor and speculation about they're waiting for the whole remake, the remake to the trilogy of the remake to fully be finished before they go back and release a variant. Who knows? That may be in the works. Who knows, right? And it's and as Jez has said, very, very true, right? A lot of those games either were made with them in with Xbox in mind and then just shelved, or it just never, or Sony made sure they never even had a development version of the Xbox out there at all, right? So it may take some time to get that done, but there is no way. Like, from the moment I saw Phil on that stage, after so much shade has been thrown at him and all of them, there is just no way I saw him coming on that stage and go, okay, yeah, we'll take the Octopath Travelers.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say Octopath. Hey, let's go all the way on stage for Octopath Traveler. I don't know,
He is taking home all of it. He's taking home all of it, and I will even go out further and say you will one day, maybe not anytime soon, you will one day see a game that'll hit on the Xbox before it hits on the
Same.
PlayStation because they're going all in.
Kingdom Hearts
Clip it.
3,
They
Xbox
kind of did
exclusive.
that. They had one.
Yeah, they have that.
Power
haven't they?
Wash
in the beginning.
Simulator.
There is that. Yes, there is that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I
the
played it. I
the
played it.
stuff that
No
would
shame
make-
in your game.
I'm talking about the stuff that would make PlayStation. What do they call it? Hooved hijinks. Hashtag hooved
Yeah.
hijinks.
Some ponies
Something that
licking
would
the salt.
That would cause hooved hijinks. That will come on Xbox one of these days, and the salt will flow crazily. You don't see me peddling that because my brothers do that, and I sit back with the popcorn and enjoy the show. But that's happening.
Yes.
I'm very confident of that. Yeah.
All right, I like that take. Jesse, what do you think about the whole Phil and Square and future Square games possibly coming to Xbox?
Yeah, I mean they got the big
soon.
one. People don't think it is, but Final Fantasy 14 was the big one to get. It's the most successful.
Yeah.
Like the moment they got that one, which is probably also going to be like the most work because it's not just porting something that's already essentially made on very similar hardware. It's
server staff,
getting it
all that.
integrated, everything, the servers integrated into Xbox Live and all that type of stuff.
Right.
Like, that was the big one. And then Phil said afterwards, like, there are more plans, but I'm going to let them say it on their time, which is literally this, which is just, it's going to take them time because they voted out the old CEO because they're looking at
Right.
Capcom, they're looking at Sega, they're looking at everyone making these deals to be everywhere. Like, and they're like, well, we want to get in it. And it's not just Game Pass deals. It's the more places you are, the more money you make. And these ports are not super expensive to do. It's not very different bespoke hardware anymore.
Exactly.
It's not like Crystal Dynamics is making the Tomb Raider version for Xbox and Nixxes is the one actually porting it to PlayStation. Like Square can just do it for all of them now. Like it's not hard to do it. It was just more the old thinking from their old CEO, who it got him fired in the end most likely, was we like Game Pass deals. We want to be paid for every one of these ports. And Xbox was like, no, we're not going to start doing that. We're going to be such a good platform that you're going to have to be with us. We're not going to go the route of, well, we're just going to pay you to have anything, because then we're just throwing money away. It should be a place where you come, you make money, you're good. Not you make money on top of that because we also pay you. So I from the beginning, I thought it's going to be full-blown everything, but I also thought it's gonna take a while. They're going from 0 to 100.
Take some time.
You know,
right?
They're going from 0 to 100 in a Fiat Punto. Like it's gonna take a while. They're not just gonna take off like a Lamborghini.
Good reference.
It's a little while to get there. Yeah, I mean, I know we saw. I think was it Final Fantasy 16? It was December, the date that they had.
6 months. But he also said they're not going to have it ready in time for that, anyways. Yeah. But then Rebirth is only 3 months. That's where you see it's going down. Like they're not doing the years at all anymore.
Yeah. That's a good point. But I mean, Jesse, but you don't expect to see those when those lapse, though, right? Like you're not thinking like a week after.
I would say I wouldn't be shocked if we get, because Xbox is going to be doing tons of shows. They're going to have Activision, Blizzard. They already have, like, Minecraft does huge shows, even though like a lot of us don't cover them. Like they've got their directs. They're on Gamescom. They're probably back at the Game Awards. They're at Opening Night Live. They're the only ones really still trying to keep E3 alive. Like they've got so much that I would expect, especially in like the June show, is when you might hear, okay, and it's coming next year type of thing. Like, because the Final Fantasy one was very much it's a big Final Fantasy event. We'll come out and we'll say we're shaking our hands and we're three-waying it real hard on stage and live in front of everyone. Crazy to see with executives and CEOs. You don't see a CEO of a gaming company doing that normally.
Exactly.
But,
that was a kind of a cool moment. It was cheesy, but it had to. I think it was one of those things.
Like Phil was like he felt taken aback. Like it felt natural, even though it was very weird. But it was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was they brought in someone who wants to put everything everywhere. He wants to make money. He wants to, because they've been losing so much money. They've been losing billions. Like what they've been doing with the exclusivity and trying to being weird about where they're putting stuff, like putting Octopath Traveler on Xbox, but putting 2 on PlayStation, but never putting 1 on PlayStation, and then not putting 2 on Xbox. It's like you're not building an audience. It's kind of like what Capcom ran into. Oh, we'll just throw out some Ace Attorney, oh, it never sold. It's like, well, yeah, you're putting old games many years after the fact with very little marketing or anything. Like, you've got to build the audience when you haven't been there for a while. And Square's been really bad knowing what's going to hit where. It's just a crapshoot, and they just want to do what Bandai Namco and well, not really Koei Tecmo lately, but Capcom, Bandai Namco, Sega, Atlas was the holdout. Yeah. Atlas was only Nintendo for this series and only PlayStation for this series. But even they are like, it will be everywhere. It will be on PC. There's no reason not to be on Xbox if you make a PC version, because then you can just get a Windows Store version for free too, essentially. Like, yeah, they're going to put, their new plan is to put everything everywhere all at once.
There you go.
Yeah. I think they're seeing. I mean, if you saw what's going on, like Sega's a great example of what's going on with the Yakuza series specifically, and you saw a ton of people on Game Pass who've never touched this series ever in their life. A bunch of people played it, completely fell in love with it, and now Sega's like, yeah, we'll give you this one in Game Pass, this one in Game Pass, but not this one. Buy it, right? Because they got you hooked on the series,
and it's the exact
and that's
same
what
thing.
You gotta do.
With Atlas, they've got every Persona coming in, even 3 Reload, but Project Refantasio, that one is not. Yeah, so like Tactica is, 3 Reload is, 4 was, 5 was, the original 3
It's smart.
He was, but then the big new one, that's not at launch. Maybe it is later, like Yakuza Like a Dragon wasn't at launch. In the story about how that one was exclusive because Sony had a exclusivity in Japan and Xbox had a parity, so they couldn't release it in Japan because they couldn't put it on Xbox, but they could release it in America because Sony didn't have exclusivity there, and people thought Xbox paid for it, but they actually didn't. It was just a funny circumstance of Sony exclusivity biting them in the ass. But like Yakuza and Persona were PlayStation only, and now they are PC and Xbox, like the main place you see them promoted and stuff. And that really hit Square hard because Square has not done well lately. They've done really poorly. Even Final Fantasy VII Final Fantasy VII Remake sold pretty well. Final Fantasy 16 Remake sold pretty well for being only on PlayStation. But they lost everything on PC and Xbox. And so it's like way behind where 15 was, because 15 was multiplat. And it's like, oh yeah, but it did sell great for being only on PlayStation 5. It's like, yeah, it's great for Sony.
Who cares? Total units, right? That's
exactly not good for Square, because Square got a ton more with 15. They got a lot less with 7 Remake. They got a lot less with 16. So for them, it's bad. It doesn't matter how good it is for that platform. It's bad for the publisher.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I mean, we saw it with MLB, right? They literally doubled sales once they were able to go to Xbox.
It's one of the best selling games every year
on a user base that's way smaller than PlayStation. So anyone who says that we don't buy games, there you go. We just matched you 1 for 1. Yeah, you're wrong. So I think we're probably going to end this off with, since we're kind of in the spooky season and Halloween's around the corner. We're going to just maybe give some recommendations of any scary games that you guys would like the community to play. It doesn't have to be in Game Pass and whatever. It doesn't really matter. Actually, I'm going to throw a curveball. Dave, let's start with you. Do you got any recommendations for any spooky games?
Oh, I got lots of recommendations for spooky games. One of my favorites, and this is, we're going all over the place on this, guys. It can be anywhere. So the original Silent Hill on PlayStation 1 was, to me, still a great classic horror game. I love it. Resident Evil, obviously, really good too, and all variations of Resident Evil I think of good. On Game Pass right now, I'd recommend both of the Evil Within. I think those are absolutely stellar, good, scary games. And I tell you, one of the games that I enjoyed playing over the years was the Fatal Frame series.
That's a good call out.
That's just another good scary game, and honestly, not quite as scary as more of it is fun and gory. Is the Friday the 13th series? I'll still play that every now and again. I have it on everything. As that silly, I even have 2 copies on the Switch, so that me and my son can play. And he's like, I don't want to play. I said, here's a copy. Okay, Dad, I'll play.
All right.
So so that's how much I like it. Even though it's bad, it's quirky, it's so 80s whatever, but to me, that's just it's a good time had by all. I love being Jason.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
and Kay's back. So who do you want to go to next?
I will go to Kay. Kay, in case you didn't hear, we are any recommendations. I don't know if I don't know if you're into scary games at all, but we are recommending any like Halloween type of games. Doesn't have to be super scary. As he plays the Purge thing in the background.
I'm what is known as a mustard heart when it comes to spooky games.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
But I do have recommendations for spooky games because I have played them in the past. Even though, yes, I tend to be the guy who doesn't like to turn the lights on. All the lights got to be on when I play some of my spooky games.
Right? Yeah.
So the first one is a hedge, Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, there you go.
I'm okay with that answer.
That's a mustard heart answer.
It totally is.
It's a total mustard heart answer. But I'm going to accept it. I do. Because that game is pretty awesome.
I'll give you one for the Graybeards, and I will not let anyone give me any slander for it because to me it's one of my favorites, and it also is a Nintendo title, Eternal Darkness.
Okay,
that's a great game. Yep,
that's one of the first.
One of the first deaths was in Providence, Rhode Island, and I used to live in Providence. I was actually in Providence a few minutes ago, a week ago. So
is that where you went when you turned your camera off? My God,
no. I went to go reprimand my child. That's a whole different conversation. No, not that.
That's a horror game for your child.
Right.
But no, Eternal Darkness. I loved it. I loved that like it started messing with you when you started it. You could literally like, of course, it doesn't work as well now as it used to. Back in the day, you turn the game on, it turns off your stuff, it turns it back on again, and it looks like your old system was when it turned on. So it fooled you. Now you can definitely tell, that's analog. We don't do that anymore. So those tricks fade a little bit, but it's still an awesome game. They have these it messes with your control scheme sometimes when you're playing it. There's a lot of really cool tricks that it does that if you've never experienced it, even now, it may not look as good as it used to, but it's an awesome game to play. I think that is waiting for a remake one day. I hope we shall see. Yeah.
I like those answers. Good for you. Good for you, Kay. Even you get the mustard heart. At least you gave us some answers, right?
I gave you a good one. Eternal.
That you did. I'll give you that. I liked them both. I thought. Look, thinking outside the box, I like the Luigi's Mansion answers. So, Jesse, any recommendations for any scary games that you've enjoyed?
One of my top games of the year that I gave a 10. Because I fell in love with it and played it like 3 times during review was the Dead Space remake.
Okay. Well, that was one of mine.
In that game, so the first time you play it, it's scary. It's pretty scary. When you do New Game Plus, they've got a procedurally generated spook system to scare you. They dial that up to like 50. Like you are just constantly getting these shit scared out of you with ridiculously tough enemies showing up and poking their heads out and going, and then, just... and it's an incredible game. Like that is the remake for me even more than RE4, which I really enjoyed. But like Dead Space took the skeleton of the original and just fixed every issue it had, kept the soul of it, and is just a phenomenal game. So like my best scary game, maybe my most disturbing would be like Diablo 4, which I know people have retroactively pretended is shitty. Like people try to say, Diablo 4 was a fair. It's like, no, it's a phenomenal game that you can play for 150 hours before it gets repetitive. You can play it 150 hours before you're like, I've kind of seen everything. That's where it failed as a games as a service. But as a game, for 99% of the people buying it, it's incredible. And it's spooky as shit. Very scary. Something older, you can go back to Dead Space 2. Still holds up pretty darn well. It's on Game Pass.
That's my favorite Ultimate.
Yeah. Dead Space 3 isn't as good or as scary. It was more an action game, and it was in the heyday of EA's microtransaction being forced on dev shit, and you could really see it in the guns and the way they do that. Still a very scary game if you're playing as Isaac, a kind of scary game is if you're playing as the other guy. I can't remember the name because you actually get completely different perspectives. It's asynchronous. Isaac will be like getting terrified by spooky shit. The other guy's looking at him like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" Because it's all in his head. Yeah, I freaking love Dead Space. It's one of my favorite trilogies ever.
Good answer.
But if you ever do play 3, you have to have the DLC for the ending because real good, especially if you like moons. But or if you want to never like a moon again, I should say. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, great answers, man. I'll go with mine. No one took my answer. It's kind of an indie game, but I do not think this one should be missed. It is in Game Pass. Please play this game when you get a chance, because I know our backlogs are ridiculous. Bramble. Play Bramble. I love this game so effing much. From a small team. I can't remember how many developers it was, but this is like Nordic Fables. If you watch the preview for Bramble, it is way more messed up than you can ever imagine. It's a little twisted. So play Bramble. Great, beautiful game. I had some of the things that Jesse said. I had Dead Space on there for sure. 1 and 2. I really liked 2 personally. I had Diablo on there as well. Diablo 4. Liza P. Actually, I kind of think is kind of a scary game because the puppets, man, they're a little twisted. I can't
say it from personal experience, but from the videos I've watched online, I can definitely say Lords of the Fallen is like Dark Scorn. Now, Scorn sucks, but the H.R. Giger art style, and by the way, I'm a Game Pass hater because I gave Scorn a 4, but that was being generous. Lords of the Fallen is very gothic Giger. It's Gigeric.
Okay. Yeah.
Super weird, woomy. Like there was an enemy I saw that was like made up of all dead bodies and like a weird.
Yes.
It's a very gross game, and it's a Souls-like. So those are very scary to play.
I love that you're pushing Lords of the Fallen so hard. I think
I watched so many videos of it. There's just like so many people have gotten to play it. They put up hours of footage, so I can have a ton of opinions now.
It almost feels like you probably, I don't know, you're channeling it. That's the word I'll use.
Right. He's channeling you guys to play Lords of the Fallen. I'm all about it. I'm so glad that someone the timing is impeccable. Jesse was on this show because Lords of the Fallen has been so high on my list for so long. Just to know that
videos, so
someone watched it on Twitch.
Oh, yeah,
right.
exactly.
Just to know that someone has watched it a lot on Twitch, really liked it. Is great because I'm definitely purchasing that one. I don't care.
It would be cool if I'm sure there are people reviewing it right now. It'd be cool if they could talk about the first, for 5 hours or something. Kind of weird that it's only been streamers. I haven't seen any of the big websites be able to talk about it.
Maybe we'll have
or the little ones.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Well, before I do want to say one more. I saw someone in the chat say it too. The Fear series. Fear was great back in the day, like a lot of psychological horror. It gives you a good mix of shooting. Like it's not like Resident Evil where oh shit, I'm gonna run out of bullets. That ain't Fear, but it's still scary. Like you got plenty.
If you love Fear 1, Trepang 2 is like the spiritual. We loved Fear.
Yeah, I heard about,
we want to make something like that.
Spiritual.
We're reviewing that one right now. It looks very neat.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. I might have to check that out.
I do want to jump out. One little thing I want to say before we start to wrap things up, RHETRI, and that is I do want to big congratulations to a friend of the show. He's been on here before, and hopefully he's going to be back on in a couple of months. And that is our friend Randall Thor 19 for reaching his 100,000 subscribers.
The man with 100,000.
Exactly. Oh, he is
the man with the million.
Oh yeah,
that was specially recorded just for us.
Just for us.
Yeah, he did a different version just for us. Thank you,
Rand. I like it. So anyway, I just want to make sure we got that out there because we do appreciate Rand and his big, all the members of the community. We have so many amazing people in the chat, and of course the amazing panel tonight. Oh my gosh, you guys are absolutely knocked it out of the park. Jesse, for your first time here, I hope this isn't your last because you absolutely were awesome. And thank you so much for being here. We loved your insight, and we will definitely want to make sure as we wrap things up. And Red, do you have anything else to say before I start?
No, that was it, man. I just wanted to make sure I said play Fear if you have time with all these damn games.
There you go. There you go. So if you guys want to know about the greatest reviews going on and all the latest games coming out, then you need to go to Jesse's website, the one he works for. And Jesse, tell him all about it.
It would be right there. It is XboxEra. Just go to XboxEra.com. Everything's there listed at the top. We've got day1.xboxera.com, which is a fantastic Game Pass filtering site that the freaking actual Game Pass app for Xbox has stolen both our Metacritic and how long to play friggin' auto polls from. Those bastards. Now you get it right in the Xbox app, but you can filter it and all that stuff. But yeah, we do reviews. We do the very occasional previews. Those are actually harder to get than reviews, oddly enough. Tons of reviews, like way too many. We do the weekly podcast with John, who's great, and Nick and me.
I love it.
Yeah, we've got Forge Era. So if you're into forging in Halo, you can share all your stuff there. We got like the Forge Lord himself is on our Discord. He sometimes takes a look at the stuff people are posting. The Discord's discord.gg/XboxEra if you feel like joining and stealing our emojis. It's just youtube.com/XboxEra, XboxEra everywhere. It is not an Xbox fanboy site. It's an Xbox focused site of enthusiasts doing this in our part-time, and people keep thinking we're really good at it because our art guy pre-drag is incredible.
There you go. There you go. And I also do want to say that the website and the content is absolutely amazing, and you guys work together very well as a team. All jokes aside, Nick is an integral part of the team. I'll look at Jesse's face. Yeah, whatever. But but I tell you, I mean, this is a show that you guys want to make sure that you subscribe to. Make sure you hit the bell icon. I mean, because you never know who's going to be their guest. I mean, this is a show that actually has had on as a guest Phil Spencer. So you just never know what bigwigs are going to jump in.
We might be about 5 months away because episode he said he'd be back for 200, and that's in exactly 5 months.
He did say that, didn't he? There you go.
Maybe we'll actually be able to have him live. Probably not, because Saturday at 6 p.m. we're not going to. It has to be during work hours for him. But maybe we'll have him for more than 15 minutes. But yes,
there you go.
And
there you go.
I mean, for Phil Spencer, I think you could make an exception.
You do whatever.
Oh no, for anyone, we try to get Phil, Sarah, Aaron, any of them, any bigwig, we will happily record whenever and then play during the show.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. And with that said, we will also like the man who always answers the call and one of my favorite members of the community, and I say that with all due respect and heart, and I mean it. K.Asante, you are absolutely a gem in this community, and thank you so much for being on again. We greatly appreciate everything you do and all the shows you do, and please tell everybody about it.
No, I appreciate being on here. You know, I think I was watching you guys the first show you did. Love the back and forth banter, the community engagement. I'm a big fan. And I don't have to say it. I don't have to gas him. He knows I watch all his shows. Big fan of XboxEra. I'm always in the chat, or when I'm honored enough to be a guest, I'm also there. Love the community. It's about the games, and people play them and they talk about them, and that's where it stays. And I love that, and you guys do that too. And XboxEra has been doing that. I'm still patiently waiting my book. I can't wait to get my hands on my book.
They're done.
XboxEra. I'm so excited.
Yeah, they're finally done. Unfortunately, it costs us like 3 times as much for shipping, but they're done.
The shipping, yes, absolutely. No, but no, I'm honored to be among you guys. I'm honored to get to join and give you my takes. And you can catch me on the Gaming Circle podcast, which is right there, or the site formerly known as Twitter. I will not. His mama called him Twitter. I'm gonna call him Twitter, where you can find my takes there as well. I enjoy engaging with folks there. As the ABK thing is winding down, there'll be some slanderous conversations. I think maybe next week. That may be the week. Expect some interesting guests. Expect a lot of ABK talk. We breathe deep of said documents so we can regale you with a lot of that amazing content. So thank you guys so much for the continued support. Appreciate y'all so much. So yes, until next time, you'll catch me in the chat most likely.
Thank you so much, sir. We really do appreciate you, and I mean that. Thank you so much. RHETRI, dude, tell
Yes,
everybody
sir.
where they can find you because you keep up on all the latest stuff with the Game Pass Plus. You've got,
do.
you're not ready to announce it yet, but you definitely can tease a little
Not
bit
quite.
about some
Yeah.
new stuff coming up.
PS Plus daily.
Yeah. No, ain't nobody got time for that, Jesse.
Nintendo Switch Online monthly.
Oh,
That
yeah.
either.
God.
So you guys can find me Game Pass _daily and Game Pass daily on YouTube. Obviously, I talk about Game Pass. I am a shill for it. I don't care. It's the greatest thing ever, in my opinion. I love what Microsoft's doing, so I'm here for it. And it's been so good lately, it's hard to ignore. But yeah, what Dave was hinting to, I will be starting a new podcast on our channel on Game Pass Daily soon. Hopefully, we're still working out a lot of the details. We're trying to get everything set up for you, but we'll tease that more in the future as well. But I just want to thank Jesse and Kay for being here today. We had such a good time, man. I love the format that we do. We get the community directly involved. We bring up as many chats so you guys aren't just talking amongst yourselves. It actually hits the feed itself. We try to do that for you, and we appreciate all the super chats. This channel has been growing. We have more than tripled since we started this podcast. It's been amazing. So we're going to keep on doing what we're doing. And of course we have our specials that we do once a month usually on Saturdays, whenever we can get some special guests for you. That's special shows for our channel members and everyone in the community as well. So that is always brought to you by our channel members. But thank you guys for coming out tonight. You guys killed it as usual in the chat, and the panel members as always killed it because we invite some awesome people on here, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, man.
We are
You're
truly
welcome.
blessed, and I mean that to have the community to be a part of it. We love doing this. We love talking games. We do and love playing games, of course. And we have, like I said, so many people. Like I said, Jesse, I really do hope that at some point you will come back and see us again because it was great having you on, man.
Kay's never had me
awesome.
back on, but I'll definitely come back here.
That's right. Kay's only had me on once too. It's okay. Oh, what?
Yeah,
Oh,
Kay hasn't even had me on yet. I'm just saying. Now we're calling people out. There you go, Kay.
there you
Make
go.
it happen, Captain.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. For sure. For sure.
I'm just
We love
messing
you,
with you.
man.
I know it's hard. Like it's taken us months to get like some people, so it is what it is. I take no offense.
It is. And with that said, I do want to do the last little thing I'll say is that next week we are all in the community anticipating Friday the 13th to be a big day, possibly. And if it is, next week's show, we are going to have Everborn Saga as a guest. But that's only if the ABK deal gets done.
Only. That was the deal we made with Everborn. Look at Kay's laughing. That was it's like contract.
Listen,
we just wanted Everborn on the show. We would take them how we can get them.
And is there a writer? So, is there a writer in the contract that you also have to provide him only the blue M&Ms?
Brown M&Ms.
That's right. Yeah, gonna pick all the other colors out. I'm sorry, Mr. Everborn.
But and also next week for sure, no matter what happens, we are going to have the one and only Hargeet Chani is going to return to be our guest to talk all things gaming, and hopefully. The big subject will be
who they buying next.
Exactly,
Jesse. Exactly. Thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. Please hit that subscribe button. All the information for all the members of the panel will be in the descriptions below. And of course, if you're listening to it later on audio, this will also be in the description as well. All their information. So please do this yourself a favor and follow all these people because they're all amazing content providers and content creators, and we definitely love having them on. So thank you so much for joining us here on the Gamers Council.
Game over.